sit there and just watching Avatar, and you're just like,
well, why you stop?
Start this goddamn thing. Start it.
You had to stop saying what you were saying.
Well, I would say, to be fair, I mean, I watch other streamers. This is actually kind of how they start their podcast.
They started off talking about AMC versus AMC $20 AMC stubs.
You could have been halfway through the pod, just sitting there for a whole hour just talking random stuff.
No, yeah, honestly, yeah, I hate when we. Well, I ain't gonna say I hate when we do it because it's natural, but like, yeah, where we like talk about a whole bunch of subjects, and it's like, dang, once the pod turn on, it's like, dang, he ain't got nothing to say.
Hey, it's okay because I can bring back all my topics. I already know what I'm about to talk about.
Right, thanks. All right, what's up, YouTube? This is Ninja What with all the gang here. You all already know. Let me do this one real quick.
Oh wow! You have to make yourself center. Wow.
So well, we were all in the center, right? Because it's all one box.
Bro, you just moved us. You don't listen after you just moved us.
Well, all right. My Fables, go ahead and say your intro.
Damn, I wonder who I am. I mean, it's not like I've been on 6 of you guys' show or 7. And
this episode, yeah, this episode 8, bro. What you talking
about? Dang, well, yeah, I'm getting old then, I guess. But yeah, I mean, Mount Fables at pretty much everywhere. That's like the only handle I use. So. But I use Instagram mainly, so if you want to find me, it's Mount Fables on Instagram.
If you look inside the those what do you call those things? I was about to say parentheses, but they're not parentheses. They're brackets.
They're braces. I think.
Yeah. Look at those. It don't stand for Mount Fables. It stands for MFer.
But I want to introduce myself. This is DrVaash. Probably forever on this podcast, hopefully. And we're just on my channel. We started Final Fantasy 16. Possibly might be Game of the Year. This year is about to be stacked with some games, but also do other things like stream Yu-Gi-Oh. Also post videos and working on trophy reviews. I haven't done one in a while, but you know, it's definitely going to be in the cards when I'm done taking all my exams. So, yeah, that's my channel. Trying to get to 100 now because we made it to 50. Let's go.
Yeah, we 50 club here, bro. 50 club here, bro. We all in the 50 clubs and beyond. So, yeah, that's our goal. Everybody sub up, subscribe, follow whatever the platforms that are being advertised here and whatnot. Go ahead and like everything, you know what I'm saying? Because we're, trying to grow this community. So, yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. As you can tell, we was already chit-chatting about a couple things beforehand. We can go ahead and revisit some of those things because we kind of dry on topics anyways, Actually, you know what? Let's start with The Flash before we go back into what we was talking about. Who's seen The Flash?
I believe it was just me.
I was going to see The Flash, but I mean, when I heard it was bad, I was like, yeah, I ain't wasting my time.
I was saying it's terrible.
I was going to go see The Flash too, and I heard it was trash. So that's why I ain't wasting my money.
Complete garbage, but it's definitely not worth a $10 ticket.
Yeah.
Wait for that boy to go on HBO Max just to see, because since I was the one who watched it, we can just talk about this. Is just going to be the non-spoiler section where it's just like, let's talk about the good things about the movie.
I mean, honestly, you can spoil it if you want to. Well, that, and also I was gonna say, I mean, you can go see it now if you want to on the pirate site.
Yeah, and on top of that is, I don't think anyone's going to watch at this point. Is this movie is the biggest flop of all time? Might be up there with the one movie about Mars that Disney made, John something.
John Carter.
Yeah, John Carter. John Carter currently is the biggest flop of all time. This movie is about to beat Disney at what they do best, making flops.
Yeah,
I actually love that movie too.
I mean, I think it was a good movie too. I had a lot of fun when I saw the movie. What are you going to say, Game Ninjas?
I was just gonna say that I think this one, the Flash, was reported to be their worst grossing movie right now.
Yeah, right now I think it's projected to make 400 million, and they said that it took them around 250 million to produce, and that's before the reshoots. So they did significant reshoots. They've done significant advertising. They even paid Tom Cruise to say that this is the best superhero movie of all time. So like they're
They
putting
did?
on all the stops. Yeah, they did. That came out of Tom Cruise's mouth that this is the best superhero movie of all time.
Oh, that's
And
crazy.
and then everyone get there like, bro, this movie's mid. And it's just this right now, the movie has to make around like 800 million just to break even. Like just for them to say that this movie wasn't a waste of time, and it's currently half of that. So this movie is probably going to come straight out of WB's pocket and just be like maybe like a 300 million loss, 300, $400 million loss on their end. So like it's looking up there. There are already rumors that they canceled Batman Beyond. There's rumors that they're like the thing James Gunn and his movie universe is going to be under high scrutiny. They probably are going to be like, if the first movie doesn't do good, it's going to look like the Mummy and the Supernatural franchise, or when Transformers tried to make a franchise. That first movie don't do good, we're going to lose the entire Justice League right here, right now.
So what? So that's what I was about to say too. Didn't they already said that Blue Beetle was going to be the start of the universe, right?
I honestly don't know. It could be the start. Flashpoint is supposed to kind of be the start, where at the end of the movie, like he resets the universe, and that's we go from there, and it's just like, especially with this doing so bad, maybe they're just going to drop it altogether, like what they did with the Justice League, pretty much. And it's just like we're just going to close our eyes and pretend that the Justice League never happened. Blue Beetle, Aquaman 2 is still supposed to come out. What else is another? Yeah, Aquaman. Yeah, it's not going to make any money. Is that movie's going to be a flop? They should just do like Batwoman or Batgirl, whatever that movie was, and just put it in the vault and burn it. Because this right now, superhero movies just look like they're on the decline.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. We'll have to agree. Even though Spider-Verse and Guardians of the Galaxy was pretty decent. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy is so far has been pretty much the only movie for Disney in like the last 2 years that made profits outside of Spider-Man No Way Home. And I think an average
statement. Hold on, wait, pause. What kind of statement is that?
I'm saying like made them a significant profit, like where they're just like doing high fives in the back room type of thing.
The fact that you started that whole statement, it's the only movie in the last 2 years, and then started naming 3 other movies.
Like, I said 2, yeah, but like right now, there's already news articles saying that Disney has lost altogether in the last 5 years. With all their movies they've made, their profit is at negative $890 million. Like they are almost $1 billion in the hole with all their bad. Yeah, they can't keep this up, and you're starting to see this with them being more shutting down more Marvel stuff, being more holding all their stuff closer to their chest. They're currently not doing good in the movie district, and they have to change things.
I see.
Like Illumination over here literally made like $3 billion, 3 movies that made near $1 billion. With the Minions, I would say Puss in Boots profited them like almost 300 million.
Yeah,
they're like Illumination is somehow doing good when Disney is doing bad, and with Disney just vomiting money right now, they need to change what they're doing, and maybe not having so many superhero movies that are by the books and having actually unique movies. He's going to get to the Flash. The Flash movie is a good example where it's not very special. There's no good action sequences. Supergirl gets worked. Like what's the point of having Supergirl there and saying that, giving her like her first movie in a while just for her to get worked the entire movie? Like she beat down some people, like some people with guns. Like, oh, cool, she had a cool sequence. But outside of that, she gets one angry buff, like, oh yeah, she's about to get. She's out here yelling, being down Zod, and then Zod proceeds to stab her in the back and kill her. I'm like, oh,
wait, kill her?
Yes, he killed her. He does.
Wait, he killed Supergirl?
Yes, Zod kills Supergirl, and it's not like a. It's not like
spoilers. That's a spoiler right there. I ain't gonna cap. I ain't gonna cap. That's a spoiler.
Like Supergirl gets completely worked, and then it's like, and then Batman does the Shadow Wing thing in the Invincible, where he messes with Omni-Man type cats and gets worked by them, and it's like, dude, why did you rush this person? You should know that you're going to lose. He's like, oh no, I'm not going to heal this one off, and then he dies, and like, oh, okay.
Wait, Batman dies too?
I mean, yeah, but the Flash, the younger version of Barry Allen tries to like rewrite time a couple of times. He tries to rewrite time, and like he keeps failing. And the time nexus, or the inevitable event, is that Zod wins and he terraforms the planet. He starts terraforming the planet, and Flash is just like, we can't stop this. I just have to go back in time and let Mom die. And then the younger version of himself is, spoilers, he's the Reverse Flash, and it's like,
yeah.
There's no cool action sequence, by the way, between him and the Reverse Flash. The Reverse Flash literally throws a cannon deletion punch, and the younger version jumps in the way, and he accidentally deletes himself. That's the conclusion of the movie. And you sit there and it's like, there's no speedster fight. Like that's it, a cannon deletion punch. It's like, it's okay. Like the Flash was holding the young version. It's okay, you'll heal this off. It's like, he ain't healing this one off. This was a canon event, brother. He just made it canon.
Oh, when I get my soundboard, man, I need that sound on the soundboard.
But the fight scene between Zod and Supergirl in the Man of Steel, Superman and Zod was literally a planet-defining fight. Like they were going around the whole planet fighting each other. Like they went city to city, skyscraper to skyscraper. In this one, Supergirl throws 3 punches, knocks him into a thing, and then she tries to mess with his wristwatch to make him stop terraforming the planet, and she gets shanked in the back. Like she doesn't even snap his neck. She doesn't do nothing. She just punches him, thinks that he's out cold, and then she proceeds to die. Then they rewrite time. The Flash tries to help her, and then Zod proceeds to body her and knocks in. Hits the Flash away, because the Flash, he can't do nothing to Superman type people. The only thing they can do is shoot lightning at him, and that's relatively effective against Superman, but it's not enough to defeat an army of them like what Zod had. And so the movie, the action sequences had to be better. Batman kind of was there, but he was just more like a character observing until he got worked. And the Flash himself, first of all, Barry Allen's kind of insufferable throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But like Ezra Miller, I wasn't a fan of him at first. And on the bright side, when he's running slower, he runs with proper form. And then when he's running fast enough to go back in time, that's when he does his really super weird run. And the CGI in the movie is kind of trash too.
Oh, I heard that the CGI in that movie was horrible.
It's not like...
I mean, I ain't gonna say, when I saw it, I ain't gonna say it's horrible, and I guess you can say I'm biased because I really don't care. But I mean, it was it's. I will say it's slightly better than CW50.
Yeah, it was around I would say it's around the same caliber as the Flash running around in CW. And the CW, the Flash running around was actually pretty good in there. Besides when they had stuff like King Shark and Gorilla Grodd is when you really saw how bad it was. They didn't have any Gorilla Grodd moments where I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. But it definitely, I would say that it was slightly better than Thor's CGI, like the last Thor movie, where the little boy had his little floating head, and you're just like, this looked like it was made by a kindergartner.
Yeah.
It was, but there were some times where it was disoriented. It definitely didn't give a realistic feel. It definitely was like, oh, I'm looking at CGI. But on the bright side, the final villain wasn't a CGI abomination. So, but he didn't do much besides throw a cannon deletion punch. And also, they had the time theory was so weird too. I'm just going to talk a little bit about it. So instead of it being like, the normal Flash thing where like when the Flash changes something in the past, like the timeline diverges and there's like two timelines. Instead, it went on the route where like if you alter like time can intersect at points, and if you alter timelines, you hop onto like a different world line altogether, which causes Bruce Wayne. This is why they didn't have Thomas Wayne in the movie. They had Bruce Wayne, but they said that he's the same character. It's just that he was born earlier because he's now Flash is on a different timeline altogether. I was like, okay. And then at the very end of the movie, this is another spoiler. The Flash changes something so that his dad, he's trying to free his dad from prison. Everyone knows like his dad's in jail because somebody killed his mom. And this one they don't really tell you because they want it to be something to come back to in the future, which they'll never come back to because it's the biggest flop of all time.
Right.
His dad was looking down at cans of tomatoes because that was a big plot point in the movie. A can of tomatoes. We're not going to talk about it. Can of tomatoes, biggest plot point in the movie. Can of tomatoes, and his dad was looking down at the bottom shelf to grab this can of tomatoes. So Flash, at the very end of the movie with the can of tomatoes is what essentially kills his mom. So he reverses him. Yes. He reverses him putting a can of tomatoes in the shopping cart for his mom. He puts it back on the shelf, but then he moves the entire shelf up one, so his dad looks up, so on camera they can look at his dad's face, and when he goes into his court case, they're like, oh, his dad looked up, so you can clearly see that he's here, so he's going to be free from prison. And then the only thing changed was something like very slight. However, if he were to change the timeline, what he just did, it brings back to the beginning of the movie where when he changed the timeline, there was a second Barry Allen and he was forced to be there. But all of a sudden, when he moves the shelf up one, he doesn't cause a big enough time rift to cause a second Barry Allen, even though putting a can of tomatoes in his mom's shopping cart was big enough to cause a second Barry Allen and stuff. It was like, okay, you guys are just jumping off the deep end here. You guys are just wrapping up the movie. We're no longer keeping with our theories anymore.
Yeah. I was about to say, that actually, I think you outlined it perfectly. That actually kind of sounds stupid.
Yeah. And then it's just like, so now there's no two Barry Allens, and then since they didn't take the Flashpoint, the original Flashpoint movie, the one made by the DC Universe one, is far better than this one, like in terms of action, in terms of stakes, terms of the world being changed. Okay. We can hear it a little bit. In terms of,
I thought. Sorry, my audio went like in and out. That's why I was like, huh?
Okay.
But like, in terms of the action and stuff, that movie is far better. It's an hour and a half. It shows much better differences of like what happens when you mess with time. And on top of that, it feels far more of a fulfilling movie because like the Flash talking to Bruce Wayne's dad versus Bruce Wayne had so much like more impact to it than talking to an older Bruce Wayne. But they went for the Spider-Man No Way Home feels, that nostalgia, and they just dropped the ball.
I see. Yeah. That movie trash.
It was funny that we actually brought this up because I was actually watching like a review on like the Flash show, like the newest season, and man, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest, like, I think pretty much only the animated movies did Flash okay, and I guess some of the animated shows. But other than that,
Injustice, the Injustice movie killed Flash off the weakest way I've ever seen the Flash die.
Oh yeah, dang man.
Gabe, did you see the Injustice movie?
I saw a synopsis of it. And yeah,
I didn't see the movie, but I saw like them like doing like a I want to say a collaboration, or what's the word when there's like a compilation of all the deaths in the movie. And
Yeah.
Flash, the way how he went out was so weak. The Joker like hit him with a bear trap, and then after a bear trap hit him, like he had like a saw come and like chop his head off. I'm like, can't the Flash just phase through the everything that just happened? Could
Well,
you
yeah.
fast enough to a bear trap to like just move his foot out of the way? Like he dodges bullets on a day-to-day basis. He literally catches bullets with his bare hands.
Well, what's funny is that actually kind of leads into like why the Flash show is so bad. Is because like, see, the problem is the way the Flash is written. He's very powerful, like powerful to the point where he's one of the most powerful superheroes ever made. Like with the phasing and the running super fast at the speed of light and whatever, all that. Like the show kind of neglects a lot of that and it's very inconsistent. Like there's a lot of times in the show where like he'll have to like beat up a villain or put him in jail or something like that, and he will constantly run up to him and talk to him before he even does anything to him. But the problem is he's super fast. He could just hurry up, put handcuffs on him, and put him in jail. What's funny is I think that actually happened a few times in the show, but most times it doesn't. And I don't know. It's just
they only do it when it's convenient. I've watched The Flash all the way up to like season 5, and when his daughter first was on, like when his daughter was revealed, I guess spoilers for the Flash TV show. When his daughter, for the first time, she ran back in time, was revealed to be like on Zoom's side or whatever speedster of the reverse Flash's side. He got angry at her and he instantly ran and put her in the superhero in like the meta prison, the meta person prison.
Yeah.
And literally within 5 seconds, he literally was like, he got angry at her, grabbed her, threw her in the meta human prison cell before she could even like react. And she's a speedster herself. So like imagine on everyone else how like they just, oh, I'm doing a crime, and he could literally grab them, put them in prison before they even know what happened.
It's even what's even funnier is that kind of like to your point, where it's like, okay, so there's times where like he'll run faster. Like there's like a scene where like someone shot a gun, but he heard the gunshot and then he hurried up and stopped the bullets midair. And like the person literally was trying to shoot him from behind, but he heard it and stopped them from shooting him. But then there's other scenes where like a person would shoot a bullet or throw a sword at him in his leg, and for some reason he isn't fast enough to dodge it. Or like someone shot like like Mr. Freeze. Like first of all, he could have took the gun off of Mr. Freeze's hand, but there was even time
Mr.
Like,
Freeze, it's Captain Cold.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're right though.
yeah. All those freeze villains that DC has, but yeah, no. I mean, there was one where like he literally shot like a freeze bullet at him, and like for some reason he got caught by it because he couldn't outrun it for some reason. And then there was even other scenes where like he was getting like, I guess like, because they'll have like people who could like scream really loudly, kind of like Black Bolt or something like that, right? But like
Black Canary type of thing.
Right, yeah, basically. But for some reason he couldn't outrun like these sound waves because like he's faster than sound. So it wouldn't even make any sense that he's getting hit by it.
In the first season, when he went up against Weather Wizard for the first time, Weather Wizard called down a lightning bolt that struck him and his adoptive dad while they were in the car, and he was able to run him and his dad out before the lightning actually hit the car. Like it struck the car, it broke glass because of course it goes through glass first. It was coming to the car, into the car. It was able to react fast enough in that split second of the lightning bolt breaking the glass before it hit the car to grab his dad and run out the car. And it's just like so that
I would say lightning bolts. I would say lightning bolts strike at like near light speed too.
Yes, that's how fast he was to dodge that, and then like he couldn't stop like Weather Wizard from like shooting ice like hail at him, like a giant hail ball. He got hit by it. It's like this. the show is mad inconsistent, and unfortunately, CW, especially since they have to draw out the episodes. When someone take like 2 steps out of the building, the Flash, like, oh, they escaped. Dang, like who? You ain't the Green Lantern? He's on foot. Like I could understand if it was like Blue Beetle and his suit went haywire. The suit's like, oh no, we can't catch up to him, or like even Beast Boy to an extent. Because like maybe he can't turn to a cheetah. Maybe Beast Boy took some damage. You never know. It's the Flash. Even if he has a broken leg, he can limp faster than they can run.
That's true.
Hey.
My thing about the whole series and most of the CW50 series in general is that when after like the first like 2 seasons, the show like drastically just started falling off.
Or in Batwoman's case, or was it the Gotham Knights case? It's just terrible from the get-go.
Oh yeah, it's just terrible from the get-go.
Bro, in that show, they killed Batman by him falling out of a window. That's how.
Wait, huh?
The Court of Owls killed Batman on the first episode by having Bruce Wayne fall out of a window.
Oh. Wow.
They like knock him out of a window, and then like it's like an off-screen death too. So it's not even like a. They didn't even have the balls to do what Gotham Knights did in the video game, where they like, oh, it's okay. Batman and who was it? Ra's al Ghul. They both died in the Batcave in an explosion. They're not going to actually show the bodies, and then like they actually pull their bodies out of the rubble. Like, oh, he's dead. Dang.
yeah. Like I said, it's for the Flash. Now you say Supergirl. I know. I guess I don't know. I think Supergirl was okay, wise received, but like the first 2 seasons of Supergirl was pretty okay. First 2 seasons of the Flash was okay, and then it just started going downhill. And then Arrow. I never watched Arrow, but it just seemed like that was trash. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I really enjoyed The Flash for what it is. Sure, it's not the perfect and it's really inconsistent, but the first 2 seasons of The Flash actually did a good job setting up like a good storyline and does a good job of introducing you to Flash type of villains. Where like if the Flash really did just run around and throw everyone in prison instantly, like it'll make most of its villains like impractical. Like what was it, the Joker, the prankster, whatever, the trickster, whereas essentially the Joker, like yeah, he's the Joker, and yeah, he can just immediately wrap him up and throw him in prison, but like it does make it pretty interesting to like watch him in weird situations use his powers, which I say is better than like freaking Batwoman, or where they said in the second, when they recasted Batwoman, that the suit gave Batwoman her power. So when the black girl put on the suit,
yeah,
she all of a sudden became as strong and knew all the techniques that the other Batwoman knew.
Oh my God.
And it's like, come on, man,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. The Batwoman was hilariously bad.
Well, I mean, I will say that's kind of why, like, the Flash, he has like speedster enemies, or he goes against like Captain Cold, where like basically they can kind of hinder his movement.
Yeah, that's more interesting than their other shows, or like what's another terrible Gotham Knights, where oh my God, that show was terrible.
Yeah, I heard that show was pretty terrible.
Did anybody ever play that the Gotham Knights video game?
No, it seemed like, I mean, from the looks of it, it just looked like they tried to pull a Destiny, and then they realized that everyone hates games that are live service games, so they backtracked it. So you already knew that was going to be pretty garbage when they backtrack an entire game genre when they're like 90% done with the game.
Oh, so it's supposed to be like a loot system and all that stuff. You do,
yeah.
No.
It was supposed to be a loot system, but then like after Anthem was one of the biggest gaming flops of all time, they backtracked and said, "Oh, you can play this single player. Like you don't have to worry about spending money or anything." But as a result, the combat feels like the enemies are kind of spongy. The loot system still has like the gear score type thing, where you have to get it's like Destiny, so you increase your armor very slowly over time.
Yeah.
Your stuff. It's a weird hybrid single player live service game thing.
Oh, it's single player as well. I thought it was co-op.
You could do it co-op, but like it probably was supposed to be something like Marvel's Avengers type of thing, where it's supposed to be online only, but then they like retracted it. Yeah. They retracted it when they were 90% done with the game, and then they were just like, we got to have the game out by next month, and they tied it up with the bow and shipped it out.
Yeah, well, DC's not doing the best when it comes to media right now.
I mean, I was. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to switch topics to Marvel right now.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I was gonna say, well, actually, no. Go ahead. Were you gonna just talk about like movies in general?
No, I was going to talk about the Secret Invasion. Have you guys heard anything? Have you guys seen the first episode that came out?
I originally thought that was going to be a movie. I'm not going to lie to you. And then I saw
so
that
too.
And then I saw that it was a series on Disney Plus. So now I haven't watched the first episode. That was a long-winded way of saying no. I haven't watched the first episode.
I heard it was trash.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. I haven't seen it either. I saw that it was released.
That was Samuel L. Jackson.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's kind of what I wanted to get into. See, the problem is I have so much faith for a lot of these shows and movies. It's like some of them actually look promising, like especially from the trailer. But it was even worse is when you actually see it and it's just horrible. And it's like, wow. So I actually had faith in this movie because normally I be ready to say, oh, this movie's bad or whatever. But like these movies, I actually was looking forward to looking at it, and they're bad. It's like, oh damn, okay, well.
Yeah.
Matt,
you was about to say something?
I was gonna say that that movie. I just don't get what's going on with Marvel right now. They just don't want to stick with what worked. I don't know what to say. Like even though Iron Man and Thor, Iron Man's second movie was forgettable, and Thor didn't really have a good movie until the third one. Like they just aren't learning from their mistakes right now, and this is just a great example.
Yeah. I mean, well, again, Guardians of the Galaxy did pretty good. So.
Yeah, but that was made by James Gunn, and he was on his way out the door.
That movie was trash. Yeah.
No, Brad.
I'm sorry, bro. Look, I'm just saying. Look, I know Peacemaker was okay, and Suicide Squad was okay, but I'm sorry, these other two movies James Gunn did was kind of trash. The Flash.
But the Guardians of the Galaxy movie was pretty decent.
I don't think he did the Flash. I'm not sure if he did the Flash.
I thought he did. Yeah, he did.
I'm not sure either. Let me Google search that.
I mean, look, I already outlined why Guardians of the Galaxy is trash. So I mean, we could be here for a whole 2 hours again. I could do it again, but
no. It's been a half an hour talking about superheroes, so let's hop on to the next topic.
Well, the next topic is Marvel. No, I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll say, do we have? Yeah, sure.
No, we got topics. We organize around here. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about the One Piece
story. Story is produced by. Oh yeah, no. You said James Gunn. No, he didn't do this one.
Oh, he did? Wait, who did it?
It says story is by John whatever, and then produced.
Who directed it?
Oh, you right. You see.
Yeah.
Who directed it?
Yeah, I'll say he had directed.
It don't even say it. If I'm being honest with you. I'm trying to see. The director was Andrew Muscles something.
Well, was there any other directors? Because they were kind of doing reshoots and stuff.
They only got one right here, so I don't know. Let
me just.
Yeah, you the movie guy. You supposed to do this. Nah, you the movie guy. I'm just the bum on the street. No, I'm just like. Well, why he's doing that? Oh, because we'll get our answer when we get our answer, right? What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. I can't remember. Oh, submarine. What's our thoughts on the 5 people who went down the submarine and basically imploded?
Sorry, say that again.
No, I
Repeat
was
that real
playing. No, I
Repeat that
said
real quick.
you know the 3 billionaires that went down in the submarine and basically imploded and died.
Oh yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah.
You should have talked about that earlier.
I can.
I just want.
I'm not sure how much you guys are familiar with it, but I got the whole down low.
Well, let's hear your whole down low. I just want to talk about it just a little, just a little quick. Not like a 30-minute topic or anything. Just
I can make it quick. But Fables, do you want to talk about this one? I think you probably looked into it pretty good too.
Well, I would say real quick for the Flash movie. So apparently James Gunn, he changed like the ending to the movie. That's what I'm reading on a website, but he didn't really direct it. Like it was the person that you said, Ninjas.
Oh, okay. He changed the ending to the movie.
Yeah, the ending, essentially a new like Bruce Wayne was switched again. Like they have 3 Bruce Waynes in this one movie, but like they
did. Oh, instead of the 2 that they showed, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
but yeah, no.
Who was the 3rd one?
It was George Clooney from Batman and Robin.
What?
Yes.
So, wait. So who?
And also, they showed every form of Superman in the movie too, including spoilers for anyone. Johnny Cage was there, but only as a CG abomination.
Johnny Cage from like.
You mean Nicolas Cage?
Nicolas Cage. My goodness, why did I say?
I'm gonna say Johnny Cage.
I'm thinking of like
from Mortal Kombat. Yeah,
no, sorry, Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage was in the movie.
Well,
no, he was
a CG person, yes, because he was almost casted to be Superman.
I thought he did have a Superman movie.
No.
Oh,
like,
they tried to do a cameo thing, like how
yeah.
they did for Childish Gambino for.
They showed the original Superman 2. They showed the Superman for Superman Returns.
Oh,
yeah.
They got all those Supermans to come in and make a cameo.
Well, yes, as a CG form.
Huh. Good for them. You know what I'm saying?
But on the tie-in sub, so first of all, let's just talk about the sub itself. It was never certified to go down to 4,000 meters, which is the distance they need to go for to see the Titanic. The wind, in fact, its maximum pressure size was what the window could take was only a max of 1,300 meters, so it was only a third of the way required. On top of that, they had a freaking Logitech controller used to control it, which they recovered from the implosion wreck. Because that boy durable. I don't know.
Oh no! What I mean by how is like it didn't sink. It just didn't stay at the bottom and it floated to the top or something.
Well, they recovered some parts of the sub. Like that's how they know that imploded, because they recovered some parts of it, which for a submarine, the only part you want to recover is the whole thing.
Oh,
and then it was never certified. The CEO was complaining about like how the submersible industry has too much safety and like they need to be more relaxed.
he ends up dead.
Yeah, it's just it's the ultimate. Just what was going on here? It's like the more information you learn about, the more shady it becomes. They had the wrong type of bolts on there, so if they were trapped in the sub and they were like at the surface and like the top hatch wasn't working, the only way they could get out was if someone unbolted them from the outside. So they could only talk via WhatsApp. So there was no like underwater sonar thing to help them to be found in case like something were to happen. They communicated with WhatsApp. Like, come on, you are 4,000 meters underwater and you're talking via WhatsApp. Of course, you're going to lose communication.
Somebody was like, with $4 billion, y'all couldn't have put an Apple AirTag in there or something.
They could have. They could have. That's what happens when you don't have government bodies looking at your thing going, where's this at? There was no benches in the sub, so they were all sitting on their butts for $250,000.
I don't know what he was trying to accomplish with that thing, bro, but like
he said that he didn't want to get older engineers because they didn't have the spark of ingenuity or something dumb like that. So like he only hired younger people, which is probably why they ended up with a Logitech controller. One of the engines was put on backwards. So in order to control it, they had to finagle the controller and like hold it sideways to go straight.
The heck?
Hold it sideways to go straight. That's crazy.
Like, I'll be honest, this starting to sound more like a conspiracy now because it seems like a lot of things just ain't lining up, and almost to the point where it's kind of common sense. Like, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I know people are kind of stupid, but no one's really that stupid though. Like, there's a limit to how stupid you can be in terms of like.
If you don't have people,
well, hear me out though, real quick, because like, just think about it. Stuff like this you learn in school. Like you learn that, if you go deep under the ocean, it's like having like 10 million trucks on your head. Like, I mean, the pressure. Like that's something you learn in middle school.
Hey man,
he's a billionaire, and not everybody is the smartest.
The CEO just said that there was too many safety protocols, and then on top of that, there was a CNN or a CBS interview. I think a CBS interview, where they actually like go to the sub because this thing's been commissioned for like 2 years, and they go and they actually take a look at it. And the guy was actually like the CEO was boasting about how he's got parts from Camping World on sale to build the sub.
This is what I mean by it just not adding up really. It sounds almost like a setup. This just seems like this sounds like too much incompetence to the point where it's like I feel like someone did this on purpose now.
But like this wasn't the first time it went underwater though. It's taken dozens of trips. Like this is like I think they were in like near the 30s on their trips, and this was the time that it imploded. It was just like a matter of time type of thing. So I can understand with the first one, it's a conspiracy, but like they actually found the parts of the submersible underwater. And on top of that, since they were over 3,000 meters under the water, they weren't there was no way to save them. There's no way to recover them. So even if they didn't implode and they were just stuck, they would have died. They would have just been like, all right, cool. What next? I don't know. Grab a giant magnet.
It's really nothing from it. Yeah.
And also, I'm not sure about this one, but the carbon fiber like lining of the sub too was, I think they said that it was never tested, and on top of that, they like kind of MacGyvered it. So like I know it's a tragedy, and we're upset about we should be sad about the loss of life. But it's just like the more you hear about it, the more you're just like, how in the world were you put in this death trap? Like literally on the waiver when you sign it, it says death, like they won't be held liable for death 3 times on the first page, and it also tells you that it was never certified, and it also tells you like and you also take a tour of it beforehand, and on the duct tape, I would have been like, I'm out. I don't know about
exactly.
On the Logitech controller, I would have said I'm out.
I remember at the beginning when they were saying that the way the controller shipped was a bootleg PlayStation 5 controller, or it's an off-brand PlayStation 5 controller. I'm like, what?
And what makes it even worse is like they paid $250,000 to sit crisscross applesauce at the bottom of the sub for a tiny window at the front. And like, when you do make it to the Titanic, one thing you can do is just take pictures with your phone and just leave. That's it. as they paid $250,000 to go to one of the dangerous places on the planet Earth, just to take 2 pictures and leave, to sit on the floor. And there's no benches in there. They didn't even take time to build a bench in there. It's not even hard to build one.
Yeah, I know because I built one myself before.
It's like, they could have put it on the sides. Like, you could put it on the rest of this whole thing is put together on the cheap end, not even certified. And you tell me you couldn't even put a bench in there, a seat, not even for the person controlling the sub.
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. You kind of said more than I could ever say. You know what I mean? Like the thing is, I'm gonna be honest. Like, because okay, 2 things, right? One, I feel like there's not really much you can say about this because it's like, yeah, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And, I mean, I don't know what game they thought they was playing with little to no reward either. And it's like, so what? You did all this risk just what? To take pictures, to look out the window and see dark blue.
No, they have a light there. There's a flashlight in the front.
That's crazy.
It's the F around and find out scale. The more you F around, the more you find out. And they went all the way on the F around.
Honestly, I think the more thing that I'm kind of like, I think is weird is just how people are talking about this. Because it's like, this is one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, that sucks. Just like the CEO that like committed suicide. It's like, I mean, what more is there to say?
You can't
I don't know. People
that,
like,
man. You have to say commit to unalive.
Oh, well, dang.
Or the suicide.
Wow, he suicided on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did a flip. But I mean,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I know, right? Do a flip.
But I mean, I would have. But I mean, look, like all I'm saying is just like, I just feel like it's weird timing that everybody just started. I'm not saying like it's a bad thing, but like everybody started making memes and stuff for this, and I'm like,
well,
it's not even that interesting.
The thing is, it's interesting because it's around the plot of a bad sci-fi movie. It's interesting because it's like, what the heck is this? And then like the people like me, where it's like, okay, people making memes out of it, a bunch of people lost their lives. I need to look more into this. And then when you look more into it and you learn more, you're like, this is the craziest thing I ever heard. This is, as you said, this is to the point where this is the point of absurdity. Like, if this was a plot to a movie, I would say this is a bad movie and the writers need to do a better job.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
This is almost to the point where it's like James Cameron needed to make a Titanic sequel, and these people just went down to live it, like to make it for him.
Actually, that's a good point, because didn't James Cameron do the same thing and make a documentary off of it?
Well, yeah, he went down to the Titanic. Yes, he went down to the Titanic. Not in this crappy crap stuff.
Well, yeah.
He did do it. And it's just like, you know.
But then most millionaires are interconnected, so it's like, I'm surprised they didn't hit him up and say,
They did hit him up. He
oh my goodness! Stop.
He had a whole say.
This is getting worse and worse by the second, bro. Just stop. Just stop.
And James Cameron was like, "Oh, I didn't even hear about this until like after the tragedy, like after like the search went on." But he was like, "Yeah, this is the dumbest thing I ever heard." He was like, "How did this even happen?" And all I know is that they're probably writing the contract right now, the documentary of that movie for Netflix, and James Cameron is going to direct it. Like or maybe not even documentary. Maybe they're going to do it just like the Titanic. Have that boy trash it. That 19-year-old who said that he didn't want to hop on the Titan. Like, come on, he's a great protagonist. Like, that's how absurd it sounds.
It's just crazy that it was literally 3 billionaires that, and one of them was like, we're gonna make this up. We're gonna go see this, and then 2 of them brought their kids.
Darn.
So essentially, their stupidity just ended 2 families. No,
bro, it's like,
hey, yeah, that's crazy. That's actually a good point, because what's funny is, yeah, since they were probably the breadwinners most likely. I mean, unless you're gonna last off inheritance money, that's pretty much it. Like, you probably have to get a job after that.
Well, there was billionaires, so I would say that whoever's alive left in the family should be fine. Wait, they well off. Let's say that.
Well, depending on because you have to think like the way money kind of works. They don't really have 2 billion like on hand. It's more like just through shares and through like assets and like it's kind of all spread around, and you kind of have to make sure you maintain stuff like that because someone could probably try to write a deal and say, "Oh, well, you're not this person, so I guess you don't get these shares anymore," or "Oh, well, you forgot to pay this loan off," because millionaires and billionaires still have debt and loans and stuff. So it's just more expensive debt and loans, but so they have to pay stuff like that off too. I mean, they might get their stuff confiscated. It's a lot to it. It's just, but yeah.
All I'm saying is their family is going to have the best supervillain origin story since since World War II, because they're going to be there like my dad was on that submarine and he died, and the only thing that happened was the whole world made a joke out of him, so I'm going to make a joke out the whole world.
Crazy.
Well, yeah, true.
Just craziness. Either way, yeah, we all can agree that some people just don't need to be billionaires. You know what I'm saying? Give me your money.
Read the fine print. Look at the duct tape on the ceiling. That's all I gotta say.
Honestly, they seem like the type people that be writing the fine print. I'm surprised they didn't read it.
Exactly.
Bro, they probably just threw $250,000 like it was pocket change out there. So, Titanic? James Cameron?
Well, another thing too, have you seen a person, I don't know, I guess defending these people?
I mean, it's the people who are like, stop making memes, people died. Those are the people. But the memes literally write themselves. The Logitech controller alone, like, wrote itself in as the meme. Like, if your business plan is a Logitech controller controlling 6 people's lives, like, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, usually like militaries have like, the cream of the crop of technology in order to go deep and stuff like that. I mean,
yeah. Sometimes they do have controllers and stuff, but like it's mostly for like more complicated like flying stuff. Like, yeah, that makes sense for a controller where you have to do multiple movements that are complicated. This is a submarine. Put a joystick down there and some buttons. Like, come on, it's not that complicated.
I mean, I guess a point of contention, I guess that might cause some controversy, or I guess have us talking a little bit more about this is I remember I heard from someone that like apparently there was like another submarine or boat, it might have been a boat, where it's like apparently there was like 600 like immigrants on it, and like they were coming from like they were like refugees, but they were coming from like a different country, and apparently that ship, like something happened to it too, and a lot of them died, and some of them got injured. And
what happened was it was immigrants from a Middle Eastern country. I think I know which one it is, but I don't want to say it because if it's not 100% correct, I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, don't say it.
But it's a Middle Eastern country. There was a few hundred, I think almost 1,000 people on this boat, and no country wanted to accept them and like have the immigrants come to their country. And then there was a major shipwreck there, and since they're kind of like belong to no country, they had a very delayed response or rescue response, and by the time they got there, like a couple hundred people died, that's almost like 50%, and that happened at the same time with the Titan sub. So like they were making memes of the Titan subs and stuff, and people were like, "Oh, there's actually a huge tragedy, but we're focused on these billionaires." And that actually is a huge tragedy. These are people trying to like escape and go to improve their lives from what was previously offered, trying to like help their families. And what happened to them is that their ship got damaged and they just died because no one wanted to lift a finger to help them. And I would say that's far more of a tragedy than the Titan stuff. Like this, spending $250,000 and hop into your literal casket compared to hopping on a boat and being turned away, and then your ship malfunctioning and losing like 50% of everyone on there. That's terrible.
That is, I agree.
I mean, I'll say this. Me personally, I think they're kind of proportional in terms of like good and bad. Because it's like, I would say it's kind of like say for example, it's kind of like one of them did like the right thing for the wrong reasons, and the other did the wrong thing for the right reasons. Where it's like, I mean, look, I'm gonna just say this. Well, actually, that was about it. Actually, now I could go deeper, but I mean, yeah, that's pretty much my impression.
Leaving an area, especially if it's an area that's war torn and is trying to escape and trying to go somewhere else for your family protection, I wouldn't say is a wrong reason. And most.
Well, I would say that's more of the wrong thing for the right reasons.
Are you talking about like the war being the wrong thing more than the refugees?
What I'm saying, they're doing the wrong thing as to go into a country they don't belong to.
I mean, there's only so much you can do in that position, and that's
what I say is the right reasons. Because to be fair, you can kind of understand why. Because I'd want to leave too.
And it's not like they're trying to do it illegally, but like,
it would technically. It's not. It is technically illegal, but they're trying to do it in a way where it's like they're just being upfront about it. Like, hey man, can I come to your country?
Yeah, but they're not trying to sneak in. They're just trying to they're essentially knocking out the door, saying like, "Could you let us in?" And they're like, "No, there's nothing illegal about knocking at someone's door and asking for help. The illegal thing would be if they just came in and started living, and then like."
I wouldn't even blame them if they did that.
I wouldn't either. But if they try to do that, they'll probably just get sent back.
Oh yeah.
So
hey, look, you gotta find them first.
I mean, it's not hard to find people who. It's not always difficult finding immigrants, especially. Homogenous community.
Yeah, true.
Not all the European countries are homogenous, but they're definitely homogenous enough to point out someone who can't speak your language, look different, and showed up last week.
Well, look, I mean, all I'm saying is, look, you can't get lost in the forest. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we getting too.
I would say some of them got mountains too. You can get lost in the mountain ranges.
Yeah, but you gotta know how to live in mountains. Step one: learn how to live in mountains.
Mountains or you die in a war.
All right, say change the topic. Do it.
Look, we're getting too political here. We're a pop culture, not a political channel.
I would say that was political. I was gonna say
One Piece.
That wasn't really political. That was morally just saying, hey, this happened and then that happened.
I guess so. Until the war thing happened, but it's for whatever. Either way, before that, I guess since we were on the topic about movies and stuff, yeah. So did y'all see the live action One Piece and the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender that they're trying to come out with?
Oh my god! Don't even give me. So first of all, the One Piece trailer, the One Piece is kind of it's not even done. Like, I don't even see the purpose of making a One Piece live action show, because what's the game plan? This show is not going to be done for the next 10 years. And they're trying to make a live action now. They're just setting themselves up to be canceled. Like, I can understand Cowboy Bebop because it has a beginning, middle, and end. One Piece, when you get to season 2, season 3, what you going to do? Like,
well, I think they're trying to make a part, like multiple parts probably. Yeah, so it's gonna be like a live action movie part 1, live action movie part 2.
No, it's actually like a TV show. So it's for the One Piece, it's going to be on Netflix. And
it's a TV show?
Yeah, they confirmed 10 episodes. And the 10 episodes go through essentially the first 50 episodes of One Piece.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where they go over multiple things. They go over the first episode is about meeting Luffy. The second episode is about the Zoro arc and him rescuing Zoro. The next episode is about him. I think it goes Nami next, and then Usopp, and then so it's pretty much they're getting the crew in the first 10 episodes, and then they start going off. I think it might end around the crocodile arc. if I'm getting it right, because Crocodile is like the first major bad guy Luffy fights, right? If I remember correctly.
It's been a second since I saw One Piece, but
It's been
I
a
think so.
long time. It's been like 20 years for me.
I believe
And like they have the episodes posted online. Actually, I might be able to pull it up, but it's just like they're flying through it, and it's just like I was talking to someone about Final Fantasy VII remake, where they were upset about Final Fantasy VII remake being split over 3 separate games. But it's like, if especially with One Piece, they spend so much time world building in that show, and if you just like go through these episodes without explaining things or paying proper respects, One Piece, you're going to be lost around. Like, you're going to have to do your own thing in those later seasons, because you won't have the foundation to to really get off those later episodes.
I see what you're saying, but to throw a little bit of a counter, do you think they're just playing based off of, well, everyone's seen One Piece, so we don't have to put too much. We don't have to worry about all the world building that's in One Piece that can make it a little boring at times, and try to speed up the process? Because I feel like if they speed up the process of One Piece, it'll make it more wow, more entertaining to watch at times, instead of how it is now. Not saying that One Piece is like boring or it's not a good anime. Just like, sometimes, it's like 5 episodes of world building and you're like, okay, I don't really care about this. And then it's useful. So the bad thing about One Piece is that the world building stuff, like, sometimes you'd be like, it's filler, but it's not filler because it's useful, because it shows up 100 episodes later, that one little random detail. That's basically all One Piece. That's how One Piece is. So I guess in short, I don't know how they can make a live action and put all the details in there. I feel like that'd be too much of a budget.
Definitely be too much. I agree.
Too much of a budget thing, if I'm being honest with you. So if they can find a good way to shorten it, not only would it be good for people just getting into One Piece that keep saying that they can't watch 1,000 episodes or read like thousands of chapters. Yeah. But it makes it easier. It just makes it easier to understand the story and whatnot as well. Just on the standpoint of, just new people and just old people.
I definitely agree with the aspect of making it easier to watch. One Piece is definitely one of those shows where it feels impossible. Once you're left behind, it feels impossible to catch up. And from what I can see for the episode list, it looks like they just do like introducing like Luffy and like his first couple of fights and getting the crew together. And then on the last episode, it's about him making it across East Blue Sea, and it's when he gets his first 30 million bounty after defeating Arlong. So it ends when he recruits Nami to the squad. And I would say it's a pretty good introduction point, as what you said. But again, it's since One Piece is built on the foundation, especially on the early episodes, it seems like in terms of long-term staying power of this show is going to either do the Netflix thing and just jump off the deep end, or is going to try to stick to the plot as hard as it can. Is going to have to pull like a Tokyo Ghoul and then just start throwing in plot points left and right just to make the story make sense. And as a good counter argument to like the show being super long and people not watching it because of that, I would say that One Piece is one of the best shows that rewards you for watching it from the beginning, like where you just see people slowly build up. And it's like watching Luffy get stronger over time is not like Dragon Ball Z, where he eats a spirit bomb and all of a sudden becomes stronger. It's like
Ultra Instinct. No.
You see Luffy really gain his strength over time, gain the trust of his companions. He gains his crew. His fights where he wins out of his sheer like cleverness and his wit, and it's just you probably won't be able to experience that as good as if you were to watch it, like skipping, of course, the filler episodes, but like just watching it episode by episode at your own pace and getting through it, and hopefully this live action doesn't pull a Netflix with Death Note, Netflix Cowboy Bebop, Netflix and all their other anime titles, and really like get the visuals good. Since it's One Piece, they're going to have to utilize a lot of CGI, especially for Luffy doing Luffy things. And it doesn't, honestly, stretching does look terrible over CG. So hopefully they do a good job just not making it look like they just stretched out an arm.
Yeah, I saw the CG too. I was like, CG's a little bit on the iffy side, but
it's One Piece, and One Piece relies on their absurd characters and making people 7 foot, making girls with the super hourglass to the point where they feel like they should not tank that punch because their spine would snap.
Hey, only after the time skip though.
I mean, before the time skip, it was bad too. Robin was rocking them since the beginning, and then after the time skip, it just got worse.
That is true. I will say that. I was going to say, Nami didn't have any.
Yeah, Nami didn't have any, but then afterwards, they were just like, give her the glow up. The creator was like, we ain't doing this. This isn't Wendy from Fairy Tail. This is Nami from One Piece. Give her them triple Ds.
I know, right? Give her the special treatment.
Man, I don't know. And then, like, there's characters who are 14 feet tall. There's characters who just look absurd, like Buggy the Clown. And he looks weird in the show, but that's okay. His power is also weird. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan of Buggy, but like Buggy's also been getting stronger since the beginning of the show too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Buggy did look very weird in that trailer that they had.
It's a still shot, so like maybe it was like like camera work, camera angles type of thing that make him look weird, but you got to see it in live. I'll probably watch the first episode, and if it's good, I'll continue watching it. If not, I'm just going to be like, I can't do this, boys. Just like Velma, I can't do it.
Yeah, the Velma stuff was a little ridiculous. I ain't gonna lie.
And then Avatar. Have you guys seen the Avatar characters?
I saw the lineup for it. I didn't think it was too bad.
I mean,
they look.
We don't have.
Sorry. We're making an Avatar show.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Netflix is coming out with the live action Avatar. Yeah.
Oh wow! What story are they gonna tell?
I made the same one.
The same one that the movie tried to tell. Hopefully it's better than the movie. The real downside to like making Avatar live action is just like the bending in the show is the lifeblood, and the bending doesn't feel believable. It's pretty much just like the live action movie. The bending in that movie was garbage. Let's just be real, straight trash. My man Aang did the most flips I've ever seen for the smallest tornado that he could have been. Everyone was doing so many like martial arts techniques, and then in the show, is literally bending was one step into a punch type of thing. That's unless you're doing extreme techniques. Even like Katara at the end of the show when she beat Azula, she just did a solid 2 motions, and that was it. Like that's how clean bending was in that show, and even in Korra, bending was always been that clean. And hopefully they keep bending as clean, 1 or 2 motions at max.
Well, okay, but technically in Legend of Korra, bending was more flashy than so it wasn't like 1 or 2 motions. It was more flips.
Yeah, I mean it was more flips, but at least they were already doing the bending in the middle of the flips.
In the middle of the flips, yeah, I agree.
In the Avatar movie, they were doing the flips and stuff, and then the bending came out. And then they also nerfed firebenders to making them so they need fire. Like, what's the point of that? What was the point of nerfing them where they need fire around them?
Yeah, I don't know why
stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know why they nerfed them either. like literally defeats the whole purpose of the
Fire bending already is a low tier bending in the verse. So why would you make it even worse?
Well, it's funny. Well, you said fire is the lowest tier.
Fire is low tier compared to
No, it's
earth
not.
and.
I would say that don't sound right.
What do you mean? I'm saying like in terms of like creativity and other than
Oh
like.
yeah, no, that's
Hold on, okay.
Wait, actually, actually,
No, bro, I'm
I,
about to die on this hill. This is the hill I'm about to die on.
no, bro, because
Go ahead and log off.
I'm about to make you die on this hill, bro. No,
Yeah, make me die on this hill.
but actually, you should go first, Ninja, because I actually do want to get into something about Avatar.
All right, this is why fire bending is the lowest tier bending of all. So there's a reason why they needed the Sozin comment to wipe out the airbenders. All right, because if they would have marched up on the airbenders before Sozin comment, not only would it have been even, I believe the airbenders probably would have wiped the floor with the main army. I'm saying like an average firebender is worse than the average airbender, worse than the average waterbender. Because first of all, water hard counters fire in the verse. Like other than like if your flames don't burn high enough, water bending is going to trump you 9 times out of 10.
Sorry.
And then expert level waterbenders versus expert level firebenders. If you don't have lightning or like blue flames, like on the Fire Lord Ozai tier, like Zuko was a good high tier firebender, and they were literally running laps around Zuko the entire show.
You want to know who's better than Zuko though?
Who? Uncle Iroh.
Azula.
Yeah.
The Fire Lord.
You naming the literal best of the best firebenders. Of course, they're going to be trashing everyone.
Well, I mean, you could argue. Like the best of the best waterbenders are kind of on par too. Like what? Like the dude with the blood bend. Like I mean, I guess the octopus thing.
Blood bending just beats everyone straight up.
It kind of, bro. See, I want to let ninjas go because I really do want to get into this. Go ahead.
All I gotta say is that's an L take. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Well,
I mean, even with you saying, okay, Firebend is the worst one. They dominated the world for how long?
That's because they took over they took out the best people with the Sozin's comment, which is like a 3 times multiplier. We saw Fire Lord Ozai literally burning a whole continent alone.
I get what you're saying, and I agree. Airbending is the best one out of all 4 of them. I will agree with that. But you're not gonna say fire is worse than earth when that's the fire's direct counter.
Earth bending. All right, let's look at the high tier earth benders. We have
also. Hold on. My counter to that would be that technically a firebender can earth bend because they can lava bend.
That's the highest tier, though. That's not highest tier.
It's not highest tier.
Lava bending is literally like the best of the. That's like a Kekkei Genkai in Naruto, where we have Haku using ice. Like that is something that is a 1 in like a million. Okay, 1 in like a couple of thousand earthbenders can do lava bending. And like metal bending too is like a 1 out of every couple hundred earthbenders. Like it's rare enough. And metal bending alone kind of like can throttle most benders because it counters water, because you can't stop any of their offensive moves because metal pierces all their stuff. Earth on top of that you can use earth like what Toph was doing to make people go off balance. Toph is the best of the best, but like if you did get that high, and then earth bending can one-shot people. Like Jet got hit 1 time and he was done.
Jet's a non-bender.
Yeah, he's a non-bender, but like keep that in mind that if you get caught slacking 1 time, you are done with earth bending. And then like the Dai Li, those cats weren't even like, the Toph level, and they were taking out cats like Zuko. Like they were up there. And sure, you could say like they
Zuko's not the best firebender.
No, he's not the best firebender, but I'm saying that he's strong enough. Like that also was before his buff, but like he's not like the common firebender. He's like slightly above average before he joins Team Avatar. Like he is like the king's son. Like he is royalty. He's good. Like if you mess up against Zuko, like he beat Admiral Zhao in combat, and Admiral Zhao was like an admiral. So like he is up there, and Team Avatar is tossing him. Combustion Man, literally nothing. He even had a special technique, and he did nothing. Like he had Team Avatar on the run, but like that's mostly because he had the advantage every time, the advantage of surprise. Like firebending on the show, before lightning bending was put, lightning bending could one-shot people in the show, of course. But like
that's what I'm saying. Like, okay.
Before then, firebending was just getting tossed by literally all the benders.
I was saying, Ninjas, tag me in.
Yeah,
I'll tag you in because I was about to say, for one, firebending. Well, no, go ahead. I'll just tag you in because I got more stuff to say, but I'll tag you in first because you've been waiting.
I'll be honest. I don't know how much I got to say because this is a lot to unpack. And look, I'll say this. I'll try to be as quick as possible. Okay, so first off, I will say to give a little bit of leeway to DrVaash. Like, okay, I think what it is he's kind of looking at the show very superficially. Like based on what they've presented in front of you.
Yes.
But see, the thing is, and look, I'll be honest, this is one of my most favorite shows ever, especially mainly just because of the power exploration. I think it kind of dived into it a little bit, but really and truly, you could go really further, honestly, in terms of the logical conclusions of some of these powers. Because look, that's why when you told me, firebending is low tier, bro. If you really want to go that deep, it can really get into nuclear physics, like kind of how he was doing combustion. Like fire is actually pretty strong because if you really want to get scientific with it, it has to deal with like entropy of the universe and how the benefit of being a firebender is you can add energy to break molecule bonds, right? Because that's what fire is, it's energy. In order to start a fire, you need energy. So and I say that because when it comes to combustion, right? And this is why, like in Legend of Korra, a lot of firebenders, I think they're kind of like in the, they have to do with like fuel and energy and in terms of like society and stuff like that. And it makes sense because you can burn coal and it's all like combustion. But the reason why I say it leads to nuclear physics is because nuclear physics, that's kind of the logical conclusion of fuel because that's basically just down to the atomic level. And the thing about firebenders, what makes them so powerful is the fact that they can control gases, because that's basically what fire is. It's basically it's like a mix between a plasma and a gas. But if you can control something on that level, something so loose, I'd argue what's funny is fire is actually more fluid than water. People actually don't realize that, but because fire is a gas and water is a liquid. So if you can control something like that, I mean, it's like the possibilities are almost endless. Like kind of like how the person who was able to do combustion with their fire.
Now that was crazy too, because she was.
That's a pretty strong power. I'm not trying to be funny.
She was sniping people off the map and killing people. I ain't gonna cap.
It's not even that. You can just make a person's head. You can there's literally cases in real life where people would just literally combust and die, and it's no explanation. That's a pretty powerful move to have. Especially, I know it's okay, say for example, you will say having the iron armor or the metal bending and creating armor, that's a pretty powerful move. Not really.
No, I think metal bending is pretty. The thing about metal bending that makes it so good is that it's very hard to defend and it also increases defenses. But I don't think that.
No, I'd argue that actually puts you at a disadvantage.
Well, especially against firebenders, puts you at a huge disadvantage. Against waterbenders, they have to be. I'd say they have to be pretty clever and a pretty expert level in terms of controlling water and its temperature to counter metal benders.
Honestly, not even that, bro. Water jets can cut through metal and stone all the time.
Yeah,
That's
but
true.
the thing is, you have to be up there. Like you have to for Waterbender to do water at that force. Like Aang and
See,
Katara were only able to do that after they trained in the water thing, where they're destroying the water tanks and using water to like slash through the metal pipes.
honestly, that
The
what's
structure.
funny? Not even that. Okay, this is the fundamental. I wouldn't say it's like a double-edged sword with the show. The problem is, this is what I mean by it's kind of superficial when it comes to some of these power scaling. Is that they'll just say, "Well, this character can do this. This character can't do that because they're not powerful enough." And I don't know if that's a good enough explanation, but I mean, it's at least workable. And I will say it's a kind of a good thing they have because really and truly, they didn't have that barrier. Then pretty much everybody would be a god on there.
Yeah.
But
The only barriers I know that's like an actual fact is that, so for instance, metal bending. You either know metal bending or lava bending as the second source of your stuff. So it's not like you can learn both.
well, what's funny
Unlike fire bending, you can learn the combustion and you can learn the thunder, I believe. Like you can learn lightning.
Oh, it's funny. That actually kind of leads to what I was saying about nuclear physics. How like you can control fire to the point where you can make plasma, because you're adding so much energy to these atoms that like eventually the plasma is formed. That's how lightning in real life is formed. It's formed through the energy gained from the sun through the X-rays, and that's what creates the lightning and the storms through the clouds and stuff like that. It's a lot to it, but yeah, but basically.
Water bending too, they can control. I guess they're more limited in terms of just being able to control like the temperature and like the states of water around them, where like they can pull salt water from air if it's humid enough, or they can pull water out of other living things, or control the water in other. That's like the ultimate water control, where only a few people can do that, but like. To what you guys are saying, like the fire is inherently just broken. It's just I feel like to be up there to do the stuff that you're saying, Fables, is like you need to be like Uncle Iroh.
Yeah, that's how
I would say. Let's put it this way. There's more well-known firebenders that are strong than there are in other bending styles.
I would agree with that, but a common earthbender can one shot almost anyone. Like if you put an average earthbender versus an average waterbender, like if you're not good at dodging those simple pillar attacks that hit you in the gut, it will take you out.
Honestly, I could argue if they drag you in the water, just fight you on their territory.
Also,
you literally drown. You can literally put water in a person's body and make them drown.
The water benders, like especially the average water, they can't control that much. They can't control that volume of water. Like it's more.
Well, no, it doesn't even take that much volume of water. I mean, just think you could die from
they can put up a barrier. So I would say, okay, you can argue the fact that yes, an earthbender gets a firebender, or earthbender 9 times out of 10 might be able to one shot the firebender, but not a waterbender, because they literally could put up a wall of water to stop the rock momentum. Like,
but unless they are fighting on like an ice plane, like earthbenders, I wouldn't say are the best benders either, because the moment you take them off the ground, it's over for them. Yeah. And it's pretty easy with like the other bending to make into an aerial fight.
They're the only people that have to have a source. Like, not to have a source, but they're the only people that have to be in a certain environment for them to do good. Like a waterbender could pull water out of thin air. That's what it was. That's if you got to be a good certain level to do that. I agree. But
what's funny is I'd argue that power can actually, as I say, you can take it to a logical conclusion. At that point, you can control literally anything with hydrogen and oxygen in it. Because I mean, if you control air and make and formulate it into water, that means you can do that anywhere. What's stopping you? And you could be like, oh, you're not that powerful. You don't take that much skill to do that. Because, I mean, if you can do that, I mean, you can just do that anywhere. Now, I didn't say you got to make a whole ocean out of the air, but, like, just a little bit.
Or, and back to, like, from my thought about nerfing the firebenders in the Avatar movie, it just didn't make any sense to me when they nerfed them. Because it's just like, what's the point of having them have their source of fire they need a source. Like they're already pretty balanced with the fact that they can create their own flames. The fact that they need a flame next to them, the rest of the benders can just kind of throttle them. A water bender can just put water on top of their
Well,
singular
a
source
firebender
of
don't
fire.
need flames next to them.
No,
to make
that's
flames.
in the movie. In the
You want
movie,
to know
they
what's
made-
funny?
I was about to
See, a
say-
lot of well, sorry, finish, guys.
Go ahead. You good.
Well, I was gonna say, see, the thing is, I will say this is one of the things. I actually really wish I was kind of a writer on some of these shows. Even though I will say sometimes I kind of like the thing is, I really like science and like just learning about like fictional powers and stuff like that and how they would work in real life and how would they be applied. And like with this show, the thing is, a lot of these elements actually go hand in hand. You can't really have one without the other to some extent. Because I mean, just think about it. Like with water bending, for example, you could like, oh, well, you can only control water. Well, here's the thing: you can control earth with water, mud. I mean, mud has water in it. Clay has water in it. Even sand. Well, if you add water to it. But the thing is, you can even control the weather if you wanted to. Like the sky is full of water.
That's like
Imagine you in a winter biome. Like just think about that. That's your territory.
That, water benders, when they get the buff from the moon, they have a consistent buff too, which makes them was why I think that they're better than firebenders. Because if you mess with them during the nighttime, it's pretty much a good game. Like,
well, the thing I'm trying to illustrate though is that really and truly all these powers, they really aren't more powerful than the other. It's morally just because you're just controlling the aspect of nature. And I could argue these things go hand in hand because you could really just mix them and intertwine them and basically break rules and do things that you really shouldn't be doing. Like, say, for example, right? You can become a firebender as an earthbender. Why is that? Because you can control the earth. First off, what do we define as earth? Well, is just a rock? Or is it just any solid? And then at the same token, like, you can literally vibrate these atoms to the point where they heat up. So basically, you're a firebender at that point. I'd argue the same for air. Like if you're an airbender,
here's the thing though. So yeah, I will say that an earthbender can become a makeshift firebender because he's making the magma. He's basically making lava. So
I could argue. You want to know what's funny? If you want to really take it to its logical conclusion, I could argue a firebender can become a waterbender. You want to know how? Combustion. Just think about it. When you have a combustion reaction, right? What happens? A hydrocarbon reacts with oxygen, right? And then what's the byproduct of that? Water and CO2.
But the thing with that though, that's more of a stretch versus
no, that's not a stretch. That's I mean, as I said, it's a stretch in terms of the show, but yeah, in terms of real life.
Like, okay, so what I mean by lava bending makes more sense for earthbender, especially because like you're taking the rocks and stuff and you're moving them in such a way to where you're creating that friction and different stuff to make the actual sparks and lava and all that stuff, blah blah blah. Not to do very scientific knowledge or terms, but so which makes sense versus combustion. Yeah, you technically it's like the combustion is like the levels of oxygen and all that stuff and water and whatnot, but it's not like a firebender is just going to automatically start water bending based off of that. Like an earthbender can fire bend technically by using the lava.
Well, the thing is, it's kind of weird because it's like, really and truly, the problem with air, earth, water, and fire is really and truly, people think that those are the states of matter, but really truly, it's solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. Like those are really the real elements. Or if you want to get really deeper, it's strong force, weak force, gravity, and fourth thing. I forgot what that was. Electromagnetism. That's the fourth thing. Because the thing is, like, it gets really more fundamental than that. And the reason why I say a lot of these intertwine is because it's based on definitions. Like, if you're an airbender, for example, okay, so what is air? With anything that's a gas state? Like, so then that means you can control Earth because if this is an Earth gas, then sure.
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, so like, for instance, like a airbender technically wouldn't be able to bend it'll be able to move and shift the different elements per se, but it wouldn't be able to bend it. If you get what I'm saying.
Well, that is bending.
Oh,
No, because like okay, an airbender could technically pick up a rock and move it, yes, but it wouldn't be earth bending per se. It would just be him using enough air, like gusts of air to move that item, right?
and
Well,
also,
I mean that's earth
like a
bending.
firebender can create water. However, it's more of a result of them controlling the fire. They can't really interact with the water that they generate.
Versus,
Well, I'd argue.
can activate. Oh, good.
I would say I argue they could. I mean, now, but see, the thing is, what is fire? Really and truly, fire is just hydrogen, pretty much. It's like hydrogen. It's weird because, as I say, it's pretty much a gas, honestly. Because it's like it's kind of carbon, but really and truly, carbon is the fuel, and you can't control the carbon. You're controlling the hydrogen and oxygen. It's really like wait, I just answered my own question. It's hydrogen and oxygen basically, because that's what's reacting. And the carbon is actually being broke. What do you mean?
Fires can be caused by a multitude of things. Fire is more of a reflection of a chemical reaction. Is the light generated from a fire is the reaction itself. So
well, no,
it doesn't necessarily have to be hydrogen and oxygen.
Well, but that's
most likely what it is.
But that's what you're
in
controlling.
the case of Avatar.
Because if you're controlling light, I'd argue that's even more powerful. That means you're radioactive at that point. Because that's really what radiation is. It's light exciting your atoms.
Yeah. That's when you're talking about plasma, I was like, yeah, that's because plasma is pretty much matter converting to energy.
It's not really plasma, really, because plasma actually has a shorter lifespan than fire. That's what I say. It's kind of a mix between a gas and a fire and plasma.
Yeah,
it's like colored air, basically. Actually, yeah, it was funny. Yeah, no, that's what fire is, colored air. The fire that you see is just, as you said, like the light. That's just the reaction. But the actual fire itself is colorless. Well, it's colorful because it has to project something. But I mean, it's really colorless. It's just that's how we perceive it through our senses.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. But
I mean, that's something I kind of. I was gonna say. Oh, sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say, like, yeah, I was always curious about what fire was and how it worked, and I kind of watched a lot of videos on it. Because the thing is, fire is like kind of weird. Like, I've always wondered about what it is, really. And like,
fire is the weirdest. Is very weird.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just because basically you're just seeing a chemical reaction, honestly.
Yes, it is a visible chemical reaction.
But
that's kind of there, but at the same time, kind of isn't. It's weird.
That's why I say if you're a firebender, you're kind of an airbender, really. Because there is not really and truly fire is just gas and light. That's pretty much it. Well, and electrons, I guess, because the reactions happening.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So I mean, like, all I'm saying, if I was a writer on this show, I would kind of take it very deep and scientific because I would say these questions.
You know exactly what would happen if a firebender started water bending on screen. People would be like, "What? So he's the Avatar?" Or the next thing they're going to say is, "I like my set defined roles."
I ain't gonna lie. The first time I saw lava bending, I was like, "Oh, a firebender, lava bending. Then that's add a third one to the board." And then I was like, "Wait a minute, that nigga's an earthbender." I was like, "Wait, what?" Yeah, but I think just the limitations that Earth gives you in certain situations, especially being that with Earth you can't. It's not like you can just I can lava bend and I can do metal bending and it's like you're one or the other and you're born with one or the other. So
it's funny. I could argue that is what an avatar is. It's basically just the person realized. I mean, in the show it's like, oh, you're chosen or whatever. But
it's a spirit.
Really, well, yeah, it's a spirit and I said whatever. But I mean, but the thing is, you could argue as I said, logically speaking, the avatar is just a person who realized I could do it all because they're all intertwined.
Well, it's the spirit that's giving them the power.
But that's what I was saying. Like from a superficial point of the show, you can say, "Oh, it's the spirit that say, yeah, you can do that." These other people can't do that, even though they kind of can logically, but we're not gonna let them do that because reasons.
Yeah, I guess.
That's how I kind of wish there was like okay, I guess if you were to hear how I would rewrite the reasoning of why they can't do certain things, me personally, I would say it would have to be some type of like and this is kind of what I'm writing in my story now. It's like it has to be some type of strain or something where it's like the more they bend, the more it puts a strain on their body to the point where they're like bleeding, or they're like, you know, their brain is kind of heating up or something like that, or the spinal cord is like, you know, kind of like wearing. It's like it's putting wear and tear on their body.
But it wouldn't though, because it's from the fingertips. It's not from inside your body.
Also, what the
I think that's kind of stupid, honestly.
To my head, that he saw this anime called Quasar Stigma, and anyone that knows what this show is, actually it checks off all the boxes that Mount Fables is saying. It's just the show is ridiculous, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Where there is a drawback to using powers. They control individual elements on the periodic table. However, since the individual elements are weird in how they interact with certain aspects, their powers are also weird and abstract too. You're perfectly describing this show, but it's different.
Yeah,
and you will if you research Quasar Stigma. And it actually would hit all of those buttons you just said, but it's hilarious.
But I'll probably check that one out.
Yeah. Look into Quasar Stigma. Watch the first episode. Message me on Discord or something. Go to Discord. And I just want to hear your reaction, because you're going to say exactly what I know you're going to say. I'm not going to go into the show. I'm not going to go into any details. No, nothing. They control individual elements. It's a battle anime. That's it. That's all I'm going to tell you. Individual elements. The main character is Iron, and he starts off as a low grade metal like iron bender. And that's all I'm telling you. That's it. That's all you're getting. He's from Russia. That's it.
He's from Russia.
The main character is from Russia in this anime. He controls iron. His catchphrase is shiver. Exactly. You just gotta be there. You just gotta watch the show.
Honestly, I'm kind of already taking it to a logical conclusion, because it's like really and truly. I mean, I would say each person can control like the phases of matter, but you could argue that like, wait, so are there people who like control noble gases?
Yes, there's people who control noble gases in that show.
How? Wait, that's actually kind of. I'm gonna have to see this show. How does that work? Because what, do they release valence electrons or something?
Bro, you're gonna have to watch the show and see the gimmicks, man. You're gonna have to watch the show and see the gimmicks. There's copper. Copper is actually a super cool power in that show. I mean, if you can make it that far into it, the show has some pretty interesting uses of pretty interesting and creative uses of their powers. You just got to get through it.
Well, is it like one season, 2 seasons?
It has 2 seasons. Then
they canceled it. Like, oh, it's too much science.
It has actually a lot of like valid science in there. It's just, you know, for a certain crowd. That's all you're getting.
A lot of the science is for a certain crowd.
No, there's science. They apply science logic in the show to a certain extent.
Oh.
Not that saying that the show is stupid and makes stupid decisions. The show just there's a reason why this show barely comes up and why I don't mention it.
Oh, but, is it for degenerates?
Oh, it is straight for degenerates.
You see, this is why I like to ask questions, because he almost tricked me there. Check it out.
That's why I'm telling you, make it to the first episode. Just make it to the first anyone who made this deep and watched Quasar Stigma, you might as well come to my channel, subscribe, because you know you're clearly cultured. We are cultured individuals. Join us on my channel. Join us over here because you are one of my people.
Well, fair enough. I'll still check it out.
Sage is not going to watch it. Just hear the synopsis of the first episode from Mount Fables.
Wow. Yeah, you know, you're right. You're right. Who got time to watch TV for real?
Exactly. All right, we concluded this Avatar conversation saying airbending is the best one, hands down. No, firebending. If firebending could be creative outside of just doing fire from their hands, they would be the best. But since they ain't, they just shoot fire from their hands. That's it.
Well, I guess if you guys want to, we could say like which one would we choose?
Okay, I'll be an airbender.
Yeah, I don't think unanimously. I don't think anybody's gonna choose anything but air, especially after this.
It's just so flexible. You have so much movement tech. You don't have to worry about destroying things for the most part. Like combat is free and fluid. You have great defenses. Your bending is invisible. You can glide around. Traveling is just so easy with airbending. It's just airbending all the way.
Hey, well, as soon as you unlock the flying with airbending, bro, it's over.
I mean, just gliding though. Just gliding is near flying in that show. You can't glide forever, but it's like almost darn near the same.
Yeah. Me personally, it's funny that I'm trying not to say airbender. The only thing about being an airbender is you can only really control one phase. Really, you
don't have any gimmicks and stuff, but like,
no, you got
gimmicks.
You got gimmicks.
I mean, you got gimmicks. You do have gimmicks, but you don't have
you always
lightning, or you don't have a lot of gimmicks. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I could choke you off from across the room. We got gimmicks.
Well, it's funny. I'd argue you could have lightning because if you could really and truly rearrange the electrons and just like pass them through each atom, like honestly, you really could
easily control lightning.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I don't know how effective.
You can't generate lightning from within, type of thing. You have to do some anime bull garbage.
Yeah, it has to kind of actually. No, yeah, I take that back. That you have to add energy somehow to those atoms.
Yeah, like you can cause a tornado. Maybe the tornado can do lightning, but you probably won't be able to control it. You probably can't, direct it at something. You probably even know how you would shift a byproduct.
I don't know how you would shift the lightning anyways, because that's just a little harder to do.
You could probably generate it, but you probably wouldn't be able to aim it, type of thing.
Yeah, because lightning, it just strikes anywhere that's the closest, and it can like pass its electrons too.
Yeah, so that's the tough one. But it's like, if someone's shooting fire at you, technically you could redirect that though.
I would say I might. They're all kind of cool in a way. I would say maybe earthbending. Yeah, probably. Because earthbending, I will say, it's because I play a lot of Minecraft, and like I used to get on these servers with the last airbender. The reason why I chose earthbender,
he whipped out the Minecrafting boys.
Because it's like when you're an earthbender, it's easy to find all the ores and stuff like that, and get the armor and make the swords and stuff. And so I guess earthbender, I would say part of the reason I would choose an earthbender is because it kind of has to do with the concept of because you have to think earthbenders are kind of very solid base, I would say. They try to stay strong and firm and everything. And I would say if you were to take earthbending to a logical conclusion, really and truly, you can make the hardest substance on Earth if you really wanted to. Because really and truly, all of what a strong material is how the atoms rearrange in the chemical structure, and how firm it is close to each other. The hardest metal on Earth is actually tungsten. People might think that it might be titanium or platinum or some other weird metal or carbon or something like that. But really and truly, what makes a hard material is how densely packed it is and how the atoms are arranged. So I would say if you're an earthbender, you could actually make the hardest substance on Earth by just literally densely packing it. I mean, that's how diamonds are made. And actually, diamonds are actually
Well,
That's
in the
a kind of.
I'm going to use the show as my reference point, but they make a clear difference between metal and earth. Like what metal benders bend is the earth in the metal. When like they actually imprisoned metal benders using pure platinum on the
Oh, that's
planet.
stupid. Oh yeah, no, Jesus Christ. All right.
Yeah, like they make a clear distinction in the show that metal is its own type of thing versus
What
earth.
the heck? How,
Yes,
man?
that's season 1, Legend of Korra. In the that's what the non-benders use to imprison the metal bending police officers.
What, even like the floor and stuff?
Yes, they had them in a pure platinum like cage, and like you can't escape. You're caught. You're cooked, and you can't.
What did they visit them?
So it was like during the conclusion or something. They imprisoned the police force when Arlon was, or whatever his name is, started with the A. I'm super close to it. Was attacking the,
I believe.
Yeah, he was attacking the independent nation. I'm just forgetting names right now, but they're attacking the nation that was built after the war, and they imprisoned the police force in the platinum thing, and they could not escape. They literally couldn't bend their way out.
What the heck?
Because I guess you can't they're not
Because
strong
even
enough to bend.
when
The explanation will be that these weren't strong enough to bend that metal.
no, there was no earth. It was pure platinum. Because when Toph learned how to metal bend was that when she was stuck in her prison, she noticed that the metal wasn't pure and that there was earth still in the metal, and that's how she learned how to metal bend. She was like, okay, boop, boop, boop. Then she broke out of it. And so in Korra, they were like, oh, you can only bend it because the earth and the metal. So what if it's pure metal? You're caught.
Even though the logic doesn't make sense, it makes sense that they would make something like that to begin with, because Toph was the leader of the police force.
And she taught them how to metal bend.
Yeah. So, of course, she would make something to stop like earthbenders from breaking out of something, right? So,
I mean, the rich guy did it in the show. What was it? The girl's dad when he was evil.
Oh yeah.
Bro, that's crazy. So then what is Earth then? Just
great
mud?
question. I would say it's Earth.
I think
Earth. Yeah.
I guess Earth is the non-pure mineral. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just dirt, bro.
It's
just the dirt. Dirt benders
just a
out
dirt
here.
block, bro. Just a dirt block.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's bring it out the Minecraft. It's just the dirt block, not the iron ore. It's not the iron block. The iron. You could bend the iron ore, but you can't bend the iron block.
Well, right, yeah. What's funny is Minecraft actually says otherwise, but I mean,
like, otherwise.
The thing is, and also I'd argue proximity, because I mean you have Earth. I forgot what it's called, where it's like you sense like kind of like the earth around you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I forgot what that power is called. I started with an S, but like basically you can.
I think they just call it sensory or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, but you can detect earth because like you can only make a platinum cage so big for each earthbender until the certain point where they can literally just move the earth that's like literally next to the platinum.
But they have to be connected to the ground to earthbend.
Yeah, the whole cage is made out of the same material, so the material is like blocking their sense. It's like if somebody was covering both of your ears so you couldn't hear.
That's a weird. Okay. All right.
So like
technically,
I see what you're saying.
Like technically, in the first,
it makes sense.
Yeah, in the universe, it makes sense.
Well,
like,
definitely, yeah. It's their own sense.
Wow. Technically, like let's say the first, just regular Avatar. So the guy put Toph into the metal box, thinking that no one can bend metal, and since he's off the ground and stuff, she won't be able to sense Earth to help break out of it, right?
Yeah.
Same with like when they were in the sand, like the little sand area, when they was going to the what's that place called? The place called, I forgot what the place is called, but when they was trying to get those the knowledge about something, I forgot, and they stole.
You talking about when Toph was when they lost Appa for the first time?
Yeah, when they lost Appa for the first time. They lost Appa multiple times? Damn, that's crazy.
I think this was one time. There's multiple episodes of Appa's being stolen, but it was just a retelling of the same thing. So my brain attributes it to being him being stolen multiple times, but no, it's he was stolen once. It's just it took them like 10 episodes to fully explain the story and to re-get him back.
Yeah, okay.
So I was about to say, I guess, quick question. Like, so they can't control like any type of metal. Like, can they control gold?
No, they can. I believe so.
They control gold.
I don't. If it's
Maybe
pure
not.
gold, I don't think they can. But there's something weird because, like, for example, Toph could bend the meteorite that Sokka's sword was made out of, even though the sword appeared to be as hard as metal. So it's whatever's convenient at the time.
Yeah, 'cause I was about to say, if they can do gold, I'm looking at the periodic table right now. Gold is higher than platinum.
No, if anything, it's probably they can probably bend something like silicon and like
I think it's
carbon.
I think this is all really dependent on the actual bender themselves. So like
probably, I think Toph probably could have broke out that prison.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Toph, we know is the best earth bender in the whole series to begin with. So
Well, it's funny. That's why I was asking. Like, it's like, do they get like visitation from like guards or something like that? Because I was about to say, you could technically argue. I mean, I know we got blood bending, bone bending.
It's something else that I was like talking about where you're saying, could they just earth bend the thing around them? Boomy, Aang's friend, has been proven to earth bend even while in a metal prison.
Yep.
So like, I guess it really does depend on like how good at earth bending you are to like if you actually need a connection with the earth. Because Boomy was also shown to be like, if first is Toph, second's Boomy, like in the original. So like you really have to be way up there to get out of situations like that. And almost Fire Lord level, like Fire Lord Ozai level to get out of situations like that.
I would say in that case, I mean, since that has that weird stipulation, then me personally, I would probably do. I would probably say air, honestly, because I would say another element there. I feel like there's a weird stipulation that those other elements have, because it seems like airbending is probably the most versatile in terms of just because air is all around you, versus fire. Fire, you kind of I feel like you can. Actually, I might do fire. I don't know, because I feel like you can really add energy anywhere.
So here's the thing with fire: if the air is too damp, it's hard for a firebender to fight in. I know that for a fact. And then if there's no oxygen, it's hard for a firebender to also firebend as well.
Well,
they have been shown to use like aspects of the firebending even in situations. Like for example, Zuko was able to heat up the ice when he was swimming. So how do we both come with the same example?
Yeah, that doesn't mean you can't heat it up. That just means you can't actually do the fire.
Yeah,
exactly. So you do have aspects that you still can use in those situations.
You just gotta think on your feet. So
yeah, you have to be creative, like an airbender.
Well, I mean, I guess my one stipulation is: could you technically suffocate yourself?
Probably.
Oh, I guess I'm an airbender then. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was about to say that the only drawback to airbending per se that I can kind of see, I had it, but I kind of forgot it. I don't know.
I'm thinking the worst aspect is that combat is probably the most difficult compared to all the other bendings, because you don't have just an instant one shot compared to everyone else. Like fire bending, you get caught slacking, you're burnt to a crisp. Earth bending, you get hit in that gut, you're gone. Water bending, an icicle to the throat, you're gone.
I argue airbending, you could just rip the air out of. Well, you know, it's funny. You can do what space does.
No, but like you have to suck the air out of their lungs, where compared to like earth bending, where like if you're getting the air sucked out and they keep their composure, they're just gonna one stump and then make you like stop sucking the air out of them. Like
I'd argue their lungs aren't that strong enough to do that. Because like I would say their lungs. Really too, you can manipulate the air in. You can manipulate the air because you have to think we have gases in our bodies. Like when we die, we expel them. That's why we kind of expand a little, just like kind of like whales, even though they do it more. But like you can really manipulate the air in someone's body, honestly.
Well, that's Quasar of Stigma stuff right there. And airbenders cannot bend individual molecules at the moment. Wait until the reboot.
They can't do individual. So here's the thing about all, just all the
that is true. All the bendings cannot bend individual. They can only bend like bulk.
I'd argue air isn't individual though. Because methane is like, just carbon and hydrogen, and like air is just nitrogen and oxygen, and like there's other gases too.
So here's the thing. Basically, everything we're talking about, you can just chalk it up to no one's strong enough to do it yet.
Yeah, no one's strong enough to bend the individual molecules at the moment.
Because if you think about it,
it's probably like a minimum amount that is required for bending. And except for like water bending, where you can gather the water, but you can't actively attack with the water in the air. You have to gather it before you can use it. It's like fire bending. You need a set amount of like, you can still like manipulate the heat or something, but you still need something to like heat up. Probably
you need like simple fuel.
Yeah, you need something. And
so that's what I was saying. So like prime example is no one can metal bend until Toph did it first.
And even then, Toph, when she first learned it, she wasn't bending the metal. She was more like doing a workaround to bend the metal.
Yeah. So it's like someone's just not strong enough to bend gold. Someone's just not strong enough yet to bend plasma and stuff like that.
I would say that. Yeah. See, that's how I will say. That's why I kind of like Legend of Korra, because they kind of explore these concepts a little further. But I would say I wish that's what the show would do. Really, it's just kind of build off of that and maybe try to have it to where like someone actually does discover that you can go this far with these powers, and maybe I don't know, they die or they lose the knowledge, or maybe they just went into hiding or something. I don't know. It's my imagination goes weird places, I would say.
I mean, that's essentially what happened to airbending. Someone already unlocked the knowledge of flying. Someone already unlocked the knowledge of how to choke somebody out.
It's just most people, like most airbenders, weren't at the caliber to just take a jump off a building and fly without any type of apparatus, or they weren't at the caliber or they didn't want to, at least, to suck the air out of people's lungs.
Yeah. I mean, I would say at the end of the day, so it's not like they was over there like, oh, I'm gonna suck the air out of this person and kill him.
I would say that's the main thing. It's really truly what's holding them back is the writing, and I would say their creativity. I'd argue, I mean, look, if someone experiments and tries to do it, I mean, they could.
Well, Zahir did. I mean, he literally, quite literally, took the air, all the air out of.
I would say that's a pretty basic airbending technique. What he did, he just did an air ball from a distance, like the type of balls that Aang did. And Aang, even though he became an airbending master when he developed the air scooter, that's what made him. That granted his rank of mastery. Yeah. That doesn't mean that other airbenders probably couldn't do something similar, or at least there wasn't anything similar like that beforehand. No. And with the invention of the air scooter, which is just an air ball, you could probably learn how to suck people air out of their lungs from a distance. And Zahir probably took something as simple as the air scooter to its furthest extreme. And
I will say real quick, I guess a good writing tip for, I guess, the show if they were to add it is have it to where like people could do stuff like this, but it was kind of outlawed. And like the people who went further into the knowledge and actually explored how far their power could go, those people actually became the villains for that reason, because it was outlawed from these societies. And like, they kind of went against the grain and explored these dark like
they did do that with blood bending. That's the blood bending arc as a whole.
That's also the whole third season of Korra. That's basically Zahir.
Actually, you know what's funny? Yeah, that would make a lot of sense if they just applied that more. Because I mean, really and truly, you could argue it's a concept of like entropy in itself. Because it's like being able to control all these elements and moving them around constantly kind of contributes to everything becoming further like broken down and like everything just moving around and becoming more like dispersed. Like Earth, for example, when you constantly move Earth around, the Earth is getting constantly broken up. Like the erosion has happened faster because you're moving all this Earth around. Even with water, when you move water through objects, you're breaking stuff down. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, when you move that water, all that kinetic energy is causing that water to evaporate faster. And even with fire, when you burn things, even with air, like the air can slowly just become dissipated and it leave the Earth into space. Because the air bumps into each other, all the atoms, and it's a lot to it. I would say that's kind of it's funny. That's kind of like the basis of my story to some extent. It's kind of how like these superpowers are causing entropy to the world around us, and that's why it's kind of unethical to go deep into like these superpowers and get stronger and do everything to a logical conclusion. So it's kind of like you have to forcefully nerf yourself for the betterment of everyone. And at the same time, you could argue it's like people using these powers to their logical conclusions could actually get other people hurt too. Like, say for example, if you're a combustion firebender, okay, you just drop a nukes on every city, huh? We can't have that happening.
So all the combustion benders technically weren't strong enough to drop a nuke, though. It's like...
No, I'm saying if they took it to a logical conclusion and actually like trained enough to get to that power level. Even like a waterbender, if they could get powerful enough to control the weather, that could have catastrophic effects. Or like make tsunamis and stuff like that. Airbenders, the same way. Even earthbenders. You can control the earth so much that you causing earthquakes and volcano eruptions. Because you're moving the tectonic plate. Man,
that's what Avatar Kyoshi did, but Avatar Kyoshi is the Avatar. And she caused a whole earthquake and straight down to lava.
Didn't they say she technically created the Pangea? Like she
created a whole island. She just said, "All right, we're just going to separate."
Yeah, she said, "All right, y'all not getting along. Here we go." Boop, split.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
and she split. Yeah. She basically
But
moved two
that's
plates.
Avatar level right there. Avatar a few generations in.
Yeah, I would say. See, I'll be honest. I think that is the logical conclusion of what an avatar is. It's just realizing that all these elements go hand in hand. And you can really control all of them if you're creative enough and strong enough.
Yeah, and also a good thing too. Another thing about avatars is that they probably do limit like the power, like themselves, just because of the people around them. They probably don't want to, walk around and just do absolute insane feats because they don't really have to. They just have to be the best at the element, at the individual elements.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
They don't have to be dismantling people down to the very atom. That's not what they're trying to do.
Like Dr. Manhattan just.
Yeah, they're trying to promote Dr. Manhattan. Trying to promote peace. They're trying to promote like the elements and being in harmony with nature. Not trying to promote sucking people's water out of their mouth or suffocating people or
sucking the blood out of you, and making you
burning people down, cremating people in combat.
I will say, see, I really look. As I said, I know we're getting towards the end of this topic, but I really will say, as a closing, I wish I was a writer on these shows because, man, I really kind of had a big imagination ever since I was a kid. Every time I would watch it, and like, I would say, you could really take it far if you wanted to. And I think kind of the thing that I outlined with the whole like new theory about the problems and why they don't go as far is kind of demonstrated in the show to some extent indirectly. It's just they kind of just have different ways of, I guess, explaining it, like saying like, oh, the spirits or you're just not powerful or stuff like that. But it kind of goes into what I'm saying. It's just in a way they did it indirectly.
Hey man, just watch Quasar Stigma, bro. That's it. That's all you have to do.
He's trying to support this whack anime, bro.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's probably good, just like I don't know.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece. It's top tier. Everyone loves it when they watch it.
Goodness. Can't trust his options, bro. You can't trust his options. He be the one who's watching.
Out of all the anime, is certainly one of them.
Closer remark. I feel like we all said we was gonna choose airbending. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah. Because I'm not trying to be in prison, so.
Yeah, I feel like Legend of Korra, the thing they did well was that introducing that you can they are going into a direction where people are studying different, learning more about the ways to manipulate the elements and stuff, based off of what they're attuned to. So, and introducing like new concepts and stuff like that. So, I think that was a good thing they did for the Legend of Korra. They hit that on the nose correctly, and whatnot. So, yeah,
For sure. Yeah.
I guess to close this out for sure, we're gonna start with Mount Fables. From best to worst, rate the base bending element. Go.
Dang.
It's funny. I didn't think this conversation would go this long, but but okay, okay. I'm gonna try to keep my brain out of it and just say, look, from best to worst from the show, I would say,
yeah, of course, from the show.
dang, that's a hard one. It's like, okay, in the best, I would say, in terms of the show rules. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. It seemed they had a favoring towards Airbenders.
Well, they kind of did, but Aang never really wasn't good at defeating people with only airbending. Like he was good at knocking them off balance. He was good at confusing them. He was good at escaping, but he never just straight up won a battle with entirely airbending. So,
I could say this too. I know how much people be hating on Korra, but she okay. You know what? Never mind. We not. That's next pod. This could be another 30. This could be another 30 to an hour conversation right here. Because people be hating on Korra so much and be like me. Aang was better. And I'm like, Aang was not better than Korra. Okay, let's get this straight.
I mean,
Korra had way harder enemies to fight.
Bro, you starring it. You starring it.
I know. I'm realizing. I'm gonna stop right there. It's just like, bro. Every time I hear that argument, I'm like, this boy couldn't even handle the Fire Lord, bro.
But he did have a 3 times battle multiplier on the field, bro.
Yeah.
In combat.
Korra fought somebody who couldn't blood bend on cue, bro.
I mean, if Aang had to fight
hold on.
Katara,
you know
Katara could blood bend on cue too.
The bloodbender locked all her bending, and she bust out with the air, bro. I'm gonna stop.
All right. Let Fables rank his thing. What's the next element, bro?
Y'all probably should go.
Hold on. All I'm saying is, if you put Aang in any situation that Korra been in, that boy dying. That boy dying straight up, bro.
He's going to be knocked unconscious, and then he's going to go to the Avatar state, and then destroy everything around.
And he died in the Avatar state. I guess they both did.
That's because he was flexing, bro. He was flexing. If he didn't come out the crystal rock just straight flexing, if he would have came out that rock just with a straight earthquake, he would have won. But no,
if you put Korra in every situation that Aang been in his story, Korra would have slaughtered that show, bro.
He came out like, I am the guy, and Azula reminded him to not be flexing. This ain't an edit, bro. This is combat. This ain't an edit. This ain't a highlight film. This is my highlight film. You just watching my show. That's what Azula reminded him. And ever since then, he didn't just come out. The other time he went Avatar mode, he came out with a whole bubble, bro. He wasn't getting caught slacking again.
So saying, bro. I gotta stop. So,
well, honestly, I would say I probably should rate it first because it might take me a minute to think.
Okay. I'm gonna rate it. I want to go. I want to say fire, lowest tier, and I'm not saying that is by far the worst. I'm just saying that it's just worse compared to the rest. Next one, I'm gonna give it to Earth. Just because even though Earth is mad deadly and has solid defenses, the fact that if you just separate them from the ground 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to win the fight. Water bending is the next one because blood bending is busted. Water is a really flexible element and what it can do and what it can destroy and how they can just and how higher tier water benders can just pull water out of their butts pretty much.
Well, pause.
it-
No,
it's pretty difficult to imprison them. It's pretty difficult to do combat with them, just because the sheer amount of bull crap that they can pull off, just based on how much water is around them. And if you're in their environment, they can just kind of one shot you, like what happened to Zuko when he went to the Antarctic to fight Katara, when she was just like high tier, but not like god tier, like when she went up against Azula, and she just built an ice pillar, crashed it, and he was done. Um, and then airbending, just due to its flexibility, just due to its day-to-day usage and its evasion, its offense being pretty good but not the best, and just being flexible, being able to strike invisibly. The misdirects, the mix-ups are insane. Aang proved it. And how you can just kind of pilot airbending and just as Aang proved how
Tenzin proved that. Nah,
well,
we put some respect now.
Aang and Tenzin. Aang pulled out some great moves and some great techniques that threw people for a loop. And Tenzin, yes, he was super powerful flying around too, but like it's just airbending is by itself is a boss level bending, and you don't need no multiplier. You don't need extra gimmicks because air itself is the gimmick. That's all I gotta say.
I guess technically the unlock to be stronger at airbending is to basically become a nomad essentially. So
Yeah,
it seemed like the more in tune you are with yourself, not bound by material things or by worldly presences, as Zahira was saying when he first unlocked flying, the more powerful an airbender can become. It's like, I guess it's like, just like natural flowingness, I guess.
Which is why the airbending monks didn't have any relationships and stuff in Avatar. It goes with the concept and why airbenders lived the way they did, and which makes a lot of sense. They did a great job keeping with the lore, but then
someone had to go with somebody to have kids, right?
But like, not the monks. Not the monks. Maybe the people farming, but not the monks. It's just, airbending, even though you have to like give up on your emotional attachments, you don't have to give up on all of them. And Aang proved that. And sure, he was the Avatar, but like he was still whipping up some good moves. I want to glide, bro. Gliding's just as good as flying in my eyes. If I can glide 2 miles in a direction and like be able to keep my elevations good, like what Aang was doing, I'm cool with that. I'm not sure about you being able to fly 2 miles versus being able to fly indefinitely, but give up on all worldly things. Come on, I'm going to be gliding.
Here go my top four. I'm starting from greatest to worst. Airbending being number 1, fire being number 2, water being number 3, earth being number 4. Reasoning for this is because air and fire, they're both very versatile. Same with water. And because I feel like 9 times out of 10, you know what? No, I feel like 9 times out of 10, because bloodbending is it's such a hard thing to master for a waterbender, because you have to also, not only do you have to go against morals and stuff, it's also just a very hard technique to learn. Right. So, and it's like the only people that like learned it fast were people who came from a certain line of a family, essentially. Like, so
yeah.
And then,
either from this line, or you have to train like Katara did with the bloodbender master, who has to teach you how to manipulate water in weird circumstances and get good at that.
Exactly. So if you don't know how to train for it, 9 times out of 10, there's no waterbender that's just gonna whoop out bloodbending on you. You like, oh my goodness! Like
the other bloodbender literally was imprisoned for 5-10 years, and the only thing she was doing that entire time was learning how to bloodbend only on a full moon. That's the requirements of an average waterbender.
Exactly. So, like I said, 9 times out of 10, a waterbender is not just whipping out bloodbending on you. So that's why I put it at 3. But if they do know bloodbending, though, I will have to put them second. You cook.
You have to be you have to be an avatar to break out of it.
Yeah, you're kind of cooked. I ain't gonna lie to you.
It's one of those things like you either have it or you don't, and if you don't, you're going to lose.
Yeah. So, Fables, did you come up with your list yet?
I mean, yeah, I would say for the most part. Okay, so one, I'm gonna start from worst to greatest, and I'll try to give my reasoning why. At the bottom, I would kind of agree with fire, honestly. The main reason is because you can suffocate yourself. Now, I will say that is a big thing because, I mean, it's for a human, it's actually pretty easy to die from suffocation. Like, if you're creating a lot of carbon monoxide and stuff like that due to the, the products of the reaction of the fire, that could easily kind of get to you. Some harmful gases can really kill you quickly too.
Well, that's why I was saying they shoot from the tips of their fingers and feet and stuff. So it's not like it's coming directly out of their body. It's like,
well, I'm saying like if it's in the environment or in a room or something like that, unless you're, I guess you could say you could kind of move it's weird because the problem is fire needs oxygen to stay alive. So you kind of have to do it in a way where it's like you're not in a room. And at the same time, you have to be in like an open field and kind of not near things that are flammable. But the problem is you need things that are flammable. You need things that are flammable in order to do the fire in the first place. So that's one of those powers where it's like it's high risk, high reward. Like the thing is, fire is really easy to kill someone. You can just look at them and just heat them up, really and truly. So I'd argue from that aspect is really to like whip out and just like hurt someone. But at the same time, it's easy to hurt yourself as well, based on, as I said, the logic of the show. But I mean, I don't think anyone really died of suffocation, a firebender. But I would say, because I mean, just assuming that like humans need to breathe oxygen, fire would be kind of like a hazard in a way. Especially if it's like a chemical fire, you ignite the wrong thing or something like that, and you explode yourself.
That's true. I see that. But unscience related, we need your top 4. No, I was like,
I would say fire is kind of at the bottom. I mean, really and truly, there is no weak power though. That's the thing. Is what I'm saying.
That's what I said too. None of them are weak. It's just fire compared to the other elements is the reason why I wouldn't say all that.
And mainly because it's the most destructive in a way.
Yeah, it's the least helpful for like day-to-day activities. Unless you're like running machinery or electronics or something along that lines. Yeah, you're just going to be destroying everything.
Wait. What does destroy? What? I'm confused. So are we rating stuff based on how useful it is per life, or are we rating stuff on who will win in a fight? Because
I mean,
were we doing? Okay. I thought we just did in general.
Winning in a fight, airbending will still probably win most times, but they're going to have a struggle. Like you need to checkmate them.
I was gonna say, I guess real quick, I can finish my list if you do want to get into that. But I was gonna say, fire at the bottom. Second would probably be water, because the thing about water is you have to kind of be near it, and like it's kind of hard to, because it's weird because it's like Earth is actually no, technically water is more abundant than Earth, but humans typically exist on rocks and Earth, so you have to live near water. Like water is very territorial because you're not really gonna fight someone on the ocean. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yeah, you're a waterbender. Why would I fight you on the ocean? Of course he'd win. So you'd most likely be fighting. It's like a shark versus a lion. Yeah, I would say with Earth and like water, they are kind of tied in a way. But I would say like the lion kind of has more of an advantage because there's a lot more life forms. Yeah, I don't know if I could say this, but there's a lot more life forms on Earth than in water that are important. If that makes any sense. Like human civilization is mostly on land, not on water. So
I get you, yeah.
I don't know if I can make that argument because you could argue there is a lot of life forms in the ocean.
So-
it's like a whole world in itself.
You could do this too. Technically, let's say if there's a waterbender and an earthbender in the desert. I mean, I guess technically the earthbender would have a little bit of an advantage, but they both wouldn't do good out there in the desert because
What, Earthbender?
There was sand benders in the
Yeah, I was about to say, bro, that's deadly.
you know what? Yeah, you're right.
But,
There were
the
sand
thing
benders. Yeah.
Earth and sand, if you're not accustomed to bending earth, you're cooked. Like, and Toph proves that.
Well, I mean, yeah, sure. If you're weak, you're gonna lose. Yeah.
No, not even that. It's just sand itself is different
weird-
for them.
Yeah,
It's like a
weird
water
material.
bender bending
Yeah.
ice for the first time. It's like you can't just do it. You have to train. And Toph was at first really struggled, but then when she figured it out, she became a master and built an entire city by stepping on sand.
What the heck?
Yeah.
So you can do feats like that, but you can't control metal.
Well, she did.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, she's the one who invented metal bending.
I was saying
She invented it, bro.
Well, no, I'm saying control actual metal.
Oh, you mean like gold and stuff? I mean, it's just different. Like
we never seen her in the show actually, like in Korra, so we don't know what feats she can do.
Well, we did see her a couple times. She did a couple things.
Yeah, but she never like.
I feel like a lot of the powers are kind of held back artificially, honestly. Because really and truly, if you're like, just think about Earth in itself. When if you just step on the ground and press a whole center block that's taller than you up above the ground and then push it, that's a lot of power.
She built a
itself.
miniature city. She built a miniature city.
Well, yeah, that's the ultimate form of power. That's even more powerful than controlling what, metal?
That's
You can't control a nail, but you
precision.
can. Yeah, just think about that. You can't control a metal nail, but you sure can build a whole city by stepping down on the ground like World War Hulk.
No. It
Control
was
a
like
nail.
it was like around like a dinner. Was it a dinner plate? I would say like a table. Let's say a small round kitchen table. And it was just like a model of a city because she was proving like, hey guys, look, I got good at sand bending. Like, oh, I see, you have.
Oh, so it's more like a. Well, you know what's funny? I'd argue that is actually still kind of powerful.
Yeah, that is super powerful.
It's not like powerful in terms of strength. It's powerful in terms of intellect because you have to be creative enough to meticulously create a model of a city. So that's like a different form of power.
I thought we was gonna be done with this.
I thought you were
I see that both of y'all put firebending at the bottom, and I'm like, all right. Look.
I'm sleeping on it, bro. I'm grabbing my pillow and I'm tucking myself in because I'm sleeping on it.
That a firebender can also do lava bending, which also helps them move Earth. And then on top of that, no wait, my bad, not lava bending. Can do combustion bending, which helped them blow up Earth, and it can do lightning,
which is dangerous. Yes.
Yes.
I
I was a combustion bender, I would definitely say that I would prefer combustion bending than earth bending. But the chances of me getting combustion bending is near zero.
I wouldn't say it's near zero. I just think most people just haven't comprehended. Because that's what I was saying.
I agree.
That's what I was saying with firebending. It's not like you can't do the lightning and the combustion, like how Earth is locked down. Birth. It's locked down at birth. You either a metal bender or you a lava bender. Firebending is just if you just took the time to do it, you know how to do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like every firebender can lightning bend, just like how every firebender can technically combustion bend. It's just, did you take the time to learn it? Just like how every waterbender can blood bend, you just gotta take the time to learn it. Versus,
you know what's funny? I had a weird conclusion.
Multiple moons.
I was about to say technically waterbenders are firebenders because I mean, what people don't realize, like it was funny. I was watching a video. I'm gonna be real quick on this, but I was watching a video on like Iceman, for example, right? Like it was called Because Science with Kyle Hill, and he's talking about Iceman and how Iceman is technically a bomb because like in order to cool something down so fast, you have to release the energy from it to make it stay more still. So if you were to freeze stuff or like change the phase of the matter, you have to either add energy or subtract energy. And as I say, you're kind of a firebender at that point because you're heating up water to make steam, or you're like cooling the water down to make ice. That's kind of powerful in itself, honestly. That's why it's kind of hard for me to choose between earth and water because I'm like water. as I said, it's kind of like a shark and a lion, really.
Either way, they both under fire. That's what I was
I mean, as I said, fire is powerful in itself to kill someone, yeah, but in a way, you can kind of kill yourself easily.
No, what?
It's like playing with bombs.
Okay.
I give a great example.
Yes.
It's kind of like
You
imagine
can kill yourself. Yes, I agree. If you're talking about all the science stuff, yes. But in the show, no firebender killed themselves from fire.
Well, I mean, I'd argue that's bad writing on the show, but
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess per se, but I'm just saying, using that logically, no firebender has killed themselves because of them firebending.
Well, that and also it kind of wouldn't be fun to look at because it's like, oh, he killed himself with his own.
Especially for a children's show. Oh no, he killed himself by burning himself to death.
Oh yeah, we can show someone getting blood bended and suffocated. Well, we can pan away from it.
Suffocation was on the second to last season of Avatar Korra, so they were kind of. They knew that their time was limited, so they were throwing stuff at the wall.
Yeah, they weren't throwing stuff at the wall. It was well written.
Not throwing stuff at the wall, but they were like, all right, we're going to start clapping people today.
They said we gonna write how we want to write because Nickelodeon's trying to clap us, and Nickelodeon's like, oh, we gotta get them boys up out of here. They doing too much killing. Nah.
Dang. Oh wow.
And I think in total, 3 people died in that season?
That's more than the rest.
Exactly.
I guess Jet died.
Oh, you know
Jet
what?
Died was 100% implied, and technically speaking, they didn't really even show him die on screen. Just that the people said, "Oh, he'll be okay," and then they walked away crying, and then Todd said, "They're lying." That's it. That's all we got. That was it.
Yeah. I will say, I guess there has been one firebender that killed themselves per se, and that's the
combustion girl.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. She formed a helmet, yeah.
And that was crazy. I ain't gonna cap. But
and didn't Combustion Man pretty much die the same way too? He died kind of off-screen explosion-y too, where he got hit in the head and then he blew himself up on accident.
Oh, he got hit in the head with the rock or something like that, and it threw him off.
I think it was a boomerang, and he was trying to focus and do the explosion and blew up like on his position.
That's how I would put fire at the bottom, even though it is a pretty powerful thing still. It's just it's easy to hurt yourself. But then again, it's funny, you can technically argue the same thing with water. You could drown yourself still. I don't mean you can breathe.
Waterbenders actually can make bubbles pretty easily.
Yeah, they can make bubbles.
Right, bubbles don't mean nothing.
It's been showing that they can breathe underwater. So I don't.
They can they make like a massive bubble and just bend it and they walk. Or like if there's water all around them, they can pull water out from. They can pull it from the surface.
Oh, like create a tunnel.
Or they can just pull themselves out of the water in a water tornado. That's an advanced waterbender technique, but that's what they do. They make a water tornado and they're at the top of it.
I don't know how waterbender would drown,
they're just walking on land. Honestly, at that point, they're just walking on land, though. They still can drown.
I mean, I don't know how a waterbender would drown, but if they did, they're a dumb waterbender.
They'll literally be like Katara in the first season of Avatar.
Well, I would say
waterbender.
To be fair, you could argue that's like with firebending too. I mean, you can control fire, so it's not like you can suffocate yourself because you just move it away from you. But that's why I say you have to be in a room for you to really struggle and kind of suffocate. Because if you're outside and moving fire, well, it's with the air is all around you. But even with waterbending, happen, bro. But in the show, even waterbending. Imagine you went to the Mariana Trench. You think you're surviving the Mariana Trench?
Well,
if you're strong enough waterbender, maybe.
Maybe
the Mariana Trench is deeper than Mount Everest, bro.
That's the same as you saying you can't bend every single metal.
But why would you? Why would you ever go to the Mariana Trench?
Because you're a waterbender.
Here's the thing about that,
explore.
You want to
do the tiny part too?
I'm raising my hand. Here's
wait, real quick, I got a joke. I was gonna say it's because you're a rich person and you ain't got money for a submarine.
You're a billionaire, but you couldn't get the proper materials to make a proper submarine. Yeah, I know.
You couldn't get the metal benders to bend the proper metal.
3 of them. They together at least they had $3 billion. They couldn't get the proper materials to go down there, bro. Come on now. No Apple AirTag. No real controlling system. They had a dang on Logitech controller. You couldn't even get a PS5 controller for real, bro. What's going on,
you couldn't get name brand, bro. You couldn't get name brand.
You could at least got an Xbox controller. That goes to everything.
Well, I guess it would be more embarrassing if he was a waterbender on top of all that and you drowned.
For $3 million, you don't even know. He could have been.
But I mean, yeah, no, it's I guess real quick to finish off my rating though, I would say okay, so fire at the bottom. As I say, it's powerful, just you can easily kill yourself still. Water is kind of more at the bottom than earth, only because human civilization mostly resides on earth. So theirs is more practical in terms of building infrastructure and like trades and stuff like that, versus water is morally locked in because the earth is technically more ocean than it is land. Well, yeah, I don't know about that actually, because I would say you could argue like the mantle and the core, and so it's technically more earth than it is water. Yeah, I don't know. That was weird. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, earth and water are kind of close, but yeah, I would say earth is better only because, as I said, humans reside on earth, and it's more practical implications versus water is just more like you kind of lock to a certain location in order to be powerful and useful. So yeah, earth is second, and then air will be on top, obviously, mainly because air is so it's versatile and it's not. I mean, you could technically, fly in the sky and forget to use your air power somehow and kill yourself. But I mean, or you could like smack right in. Actually, it's funny. Dang, air is dangerous too. Because it's only so fast you can go, really. You can't go that high in terms of flying.
Oh my gosh. All right. All right. So you said fire, water, earth.
Air. All right, cool.
All right, cool.
But real quick, I'll say air is at the top mainly because it kind of like how you were saying, where it's invisible. You can't see it. So it's basically like fire, but better because you can't see it. And at the same time, air is all around you. So I mean, it's easy. You just pick it up right now if you want to. Get a handful
you
of
lock somebody in a whole air bubble and yeah.
Yeah. Like you can create like force fields and stuff. Yeah.
I see. So I like the pod today. Ain't gonna lie to you guys because it's 2 hours 30 minutes in. It's time to get up out of here.
Oh damn!
Well, no. Is it 2 hours? I think the Avatar topic took a whole hour and some change, so I think we covered our bases. No,
I guess was there like an outro icebreaker or something? Or?
That was the outro icebreaker, I guess.
Oh yeah, well, I guess. Yeah.
Here, I got one. Let's make this one quick. If you was given the choice to, I guess I kind of technically asked this at the beginning, so you know what? Let me just pick something else.
I guess, or is this an Avatar question?
It was, but I'm like,
I would say if you could choose one element to take to like the extreme that has been proven on the show, which element would be the one? For me, it would be still air, because the power of just straight flight and just sucking air out of people is just so strong. You kind of just win fights if you can just fly and suck the air out of them, because you can dodge all their stuff while doing it. So it's game over.
On top of that, it doesn't require as much training as the bloodbend. So I would also agree that air would be the one I would use too.
It's proven that you can just fight the Avatar with pure air. So like, I'm going with that.
I would say, me personally, it's either earth or fire. Like, the problem with fire, as I said, is very destructive, but taken to its logical conclusion, it's probably really and truly, fire is probably the most powerful in terms of its logical conclusion. Because you can make a nuclear bomb at that point, really. But at that point, you kill yourself, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no amount of air is overcoming that. Because you could, honestly, to its logical conclusion, you can create a star if you wanted to.
That would definitely kill you.
Well, yeah. It depends on how big it is. Yeah, actually, that would kill you.
That will still kill you. You made a star, it'll still kill you.
Show wise. While we making stars, show wise.
Well, hey, that's what they did in Full Metal Alchemist.
This is Avatar. This is a cartoon. No,
you watch some Quasar of Stigma, bro. You just need to watch it, bro. All of your thirst will be quenched with that show.
Well, right, yeah, for sure, yeah. But I mean, I would say my choice is probably just Earth because, as I said before, you can create the most dense object in the world and the strongest material, and it's really helpful for infrastructure and stuff like that. It just has the most practical uses for society.
I agree. You'd probably be able to find a job better than with that. So,
well, that and also, there's no amount of air that's about to break the strongest Earth material. So.
Yes, it's been proven. It's been proven in the show that
wait, hold on. Tornadoes.
All right, stop. No, we ain't doing this. All right, give me our outros. We out of here.
All right.
Wait, hold on. Wait, didn't Dash have to choose?
I'm just gonna do my outro.
He chose air. We both chose air. You're the only person that chose something else.
You chose Earth, and that's okay. I mean, being able to cause cataclysmic earthquakes and destroy huge portions of society is something that Earth is proven to do on the show. So if you want to say Earth, and with the insane feats that Earth has done, I will give it to you. Pretty much all the elements and in their final form are equal to each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
It doesn't matter. Right? Yeah, give us the outro.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for making to the end of this podcast. I know we made it to an Avatar podcast at the end, but
shame.
We're going to have more topics to talk about in the future. Always stuff happening, and we really appreciate you making it this far. Leave a like, comment, subscribe to my man Sage. Hop over to my channel if you actually want to come to some gameplay, or hop on my Twitch if you want to come live and interact with me. I will talk with you. We will have fun. So we all appreciate you for making it.
Community engagement.
I would say a quick question. Have you guys played Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat 1?
Yeah, tested it out.
No, I didn't know how to get access to it. I saw people playing it.
Oh damn.
No, I haven't
good,
tried it.
Oh yeah,
the game looks fun, and I'm a big fan of Mortal Kombat. So if I have the money when it comes out, I'll probably buy it. But just at the moment, I do not. So hopefully, I don't. When does it come out?
I think at the end of the year, sometime. Maybe October, November.
Okay, so near the end of the year. Spider-Man comes out near the end of the year, though.
Actually, no. Wait. No, it might be September. I don't know. I gotta look.
Okay, so yeah, when that game drops, it'll probably be a different story for me. But I might even show off the story mode too. I haven't even played any of the Street Fighter story mode, but honestly speaking, that's kind of second fiddle for me for Street Fighter. The Street Fighter story is already mid. But
true. I was gonna do a series on the storyline too. Need to get on that. But about Fables, did you give your outro? No, not yet, right?
Well, I mean, it'll be real quick. Mount Fables. You can find me on Instagram at Mount Fables. I would say this podcast is pretty much the most active I've been lately. So, if you want to check me out, just check me out here. Honestly, I would say.
Okay. I like that. Still check out all his stuff. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming out. Like, comment, subscribe. To everybody here, follow their pages, social medias, Twitches. We need to grow this community, so that's what we're trying to do. Right now, we're sitting at 50K, not 50K. Wow, 50 minus the K. We want to get to 50K, but 50 subs for all of us. Whatever, blah blah. We're trying to grow. Next goal is 100, but it's really 1,000, so I added 0 on it. But 100, so no one gets scared. And say bye to the people. We out of here.
Goodbye, guys.
See ya.